Bring on the hats, Tomax and Zaymot. Bring on the hats. What the heck? And if there's two people I'd be scared to run into, it's those guys.
No kidding.
Matthew, are those the reaction?
No. These
anniversary or those? Oh, I can't tell. I couldn't tell.
Yeah, no, they are. That's hammerhead bodies from Marvel Legends with Tomax and Zaymot's head on them, and then I created a little flower to put on their lapel. I just need to get some red stuff,
wow,
modeling compound to make some red ones, but
that's man, true customization, my friend. That's awesome. Hammerhead, that's a name I haven't. That's a Spider-Man villain, right?
Yeah, and so that was one of the first two comic books I ever had. Were 1970s Amazing Spider-Man, one with Hammerhead busting through, punching out Doc Ock and Spider-Man.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then the other one was the other very first comic book panel that I ever did in action figure format, which is Spider-Man with Green Goblin in a headlock with his vehicle shooting up behind him in the alleyway. That's pretty cool.
Nice. Man, I loved Spider-Man comic books as a kid. I still have my original copy of him and Mary Jane getting married, which was what was that issue 150 or 100? I'd have to go grab it.
I'm terrible with issue numbers on anything besides G.I. Joe.
I hear you. You know, it's like somebody trying. If you're not a true comic fan unless you have Amazing Fantasy 114 or whatever the fuck it is. It's like, okay, fine.
Well,
you got me. Yeah, God, I got to turn in my nerd card, right? Well, so anyway, welcome to the unnamed as of yet show in progress.
The Big Show's not a bad one. We can still use the Big Show until something else comes out.
It's fine, but like after Thursday with Punk. It's kind of not something I had not been thinking about. It's just folks, life is life, right?
Yep.
You work, you got stuff going on. If you have kids, you got stuff going on there, and time gets away from you. And obviously, as you get older, it really gets away from you faster than you realize. And so yeah, it's been a while now. I've been wanting to try to think of something and come up with something. And every time I wanted to sit down and do it or just spend a day on the computer and just kind of looking up stuff, getting some inspiration. It just hasn't happened. But I did want to kind of come up with something different. And I didn't want it to be too on the nose or too, you know what I mean? Like super cheesy. Like I wanted to have something good and something catchy. But at the same time, I think the content is really what it's all about. So yes, the name helps in a sense, but obviously it's what's in the show that matters the most. But so gonna try to brainstorm tomorrow. I'm off tomorrow, so I'm gonna try to brainstorm. I do have to do Sevens Wild with a 3-star draw tomorrow night, and we have a pretty fun show. We're gonna do kind of Halloween theme this month, and tomorrow night is like our scariest. We say scariest, but what in my mind, scariest like G.I. Joe, whether it's Real American Hero or classified, whatever, uniforms. And when I start looking at some of those 90s releases, that stuff makes me want to run away. Like somebody's chasing me with a giant butcher knife. Does that make sense? Like some of those things, there were figures I didn't even realize when I'm looking on 3D Joe's and I'm going,
what? You don't like neon? You don't like neon?
Man, you know what? Growing up in the 80s especially, I love neon. I don't like alien characters and like, it just got real super goofy there. And some of those outfits, I'm just like, oh, that's scary, right? And so that's kind of a fun topic. I think we're gonna hit up tomorrow and try to do some more Halloween stuff. But that's for tomorrow. That's on 3-Star Draws channel. Obviously, Sevens Wild. We'll do that at 9 p.m. Central, or 9 p.m. Eastern. But yeah. So this show, trying to come up with a new name. We'll bat some stuff around. Obviously, you guys in the chat, throw some stuff out there. Be glad to take some suggestions and maybe combine some stuff and try to find something fun that works and describes the show, obviously, for what we do. My inspiration was Dan Patrick and Keith Olbermann back in the 90s, since we're kind of old hats. And so I always loved that, watching Sports Center back in the day.
There-
But
There's the troublemaker there.
yeah,
The guy who's messing it all up,
that's
getting
right.
us to change the name.
Screwing this whole operation, screwing the pooch. And but anyway, so you know what? We'll get it. Like I said, it's the show, it's what's involved, it's who's showing up, to watch it every week. That's what matters the most when it's all said and done. So
Absolutely.
uh,
Yep.
we got a few things to talk about tonight. Before we get into it, obviously we're going to hit up the chat, but I always have to ask you off the top, Matthew, how was your day? How you doing? Things well in your world? No hurricane weather there in the
Not
big ass
yet.
state we live in?
So the speculation is that we're going to get hit with this next one that's coming,
Okay.
because that's going to come right up Tornado Alley. So that we're going to get some at least ramifications from that probably, unless something changes. But no, we're free and clear from this one. My family's free and clear. The only person I couldn't get a hold of that I was trying to was you this weekend.
Yeah, and not for a on purpose
Yes,
reason
I
by
know. I
any
know.
means, right? It's just
I
yeah,
understand life, but I messaged 3 Star on Sunday or Monday. It's like, hey, have you heard from him? He hasn't responded. That's not like him normally. Just want to make
yeah,
sure you're okay.
a little MIA, so to speak. A little bit. Just yeah, like I said, son stuff, band stuff, and then their
Yeah.
competition, and that kind of got rained out on Saturday, and they ended up moving in the gym, and they just, but on top of that, just I had some just different stuff going on, and it
Yep.
happens, right? And
Oh yeah.
and so, but definitely not on purpose, that's for sure. And I appreciate at least the concern. Yeah, East Tennessee got flooded, got whacked pretty good.
Yeah.
That usually subsides by the time it gets to our area here in Middle Tennessee, and so we just had steady
Right.
rain, no serious storms or anything like that. So
Yeah,
yeah, that was
we
pretty
we set up our Halloween decorations outside
sweet.
for the most
Okay.
part. The disappointing part was that our house has been known for the 10-foot giant spider with glow in the dark
Oh,
eyes and all this stuff and this nice webbing behind it for,
okay.
I don't know, 3 or 4 years now. And then when we pulled it out this time, it didn't survive storage as well this
Oh,
year. So I think it's going to have to be retired because we don't have an 8-legged spider this year. I'll say that.
oh no. It might be even creepier. If
Well,
if it's
maybe.
4 legs, it can be really weird. You put like
Yeah.
a go get a human mask and
But my wife is probably trying to appease me, and she kind of wants to get the 12-foot werewolf to put out there in its place, and
oh
so
wow.
we'll see what we're gonna do
Yeah,
next
I've
year.
already seen some fun stuff, and growing up, I know 3 Star, growing up, he lived right off of a main highway, which is very populated now. Back then it wasn't, but they used to put like a coffin out there with a light, and the lid would be open. I mean, and Halloween decorations and stuff was always fun for people driving down the highway and look over, and see stuff. And of course, this is his favorite time of the year. This is his
Oh yeah,
favorite holiday.
oh yeah,
And so he's always had a lot of fun with it. Used to have a lot of Halloween parties and stuff like
nice.
that.
What
And
what's really cool is that last year we retired our previous spider because it was just
oh
falling
man,
apart. But this was cool because my wife gave it to me, and I got to do some amazing action figure photography with it because
okay,
it was just perfect size for Conan and Red Sonja to fight a giant spider and stab the crap out of it and everything else because it was already falling apart. So it might as well tear
right.
it up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, and was it one of those ones that hangs on a string maybe, and you walk by and it goes like, or was it
No,
like
this was
really big?
about a 4-foot
Oh,
silicone
holy
spider.
moly! So
Yeah,
you had to
so
do some serious, I guess like foreground, background type
so
of
there's
stuff.
some perspective stuff with
Yes,
that.
yeah.
But you can see some of our outside decorations last year. I put low light in some of the webbing, like one of his nightmare sequences with one of the giant spiders coming at him, and Conan and Red Sonja fighting one. It was pretty cool. I had a lot of fun.
Nice. Yeah, dude. Like, I mean, obviously props like that and stuff. This time of year for great ideas, especially for photography. I'm sure. And obviously, if you're creative, you could really work with it. Yeah, perspective wise. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's go ahead and jump into chat, and then I'm going to show off a couple things that I got recently. Let's see. Yeah, listen, that's not unusual, right? There's so many people
I
that
hate spiders. I hate them.
spiders. Yeah, not a fan. Not a fan at all. Daredevil Dave first in the chat as we say hello. What's going on? Always good to see you, and usually always first rate of rock and roll, baby. Frost Bites, GI Joe Repro, Ahoy, you fine person, and Ronnie Trick Shot as well. Bring on the hats. Open the show with that. Dreadnought K6, what's up? Had some good voice messages and back and forth just a few days ago with Dreadnought. It was good stuff. Very good stuff. A lot of food for thought. A lot of stuff for me to look into, which I'm excited about actually. And then Bobby Wold. Love the 90s animated Spider-Man cartoon. You and me both. I'll tell you which one I really loved was the MTV one. Do you remember that one? I
Yeah.
have it on DVD. I loved it. I think it got like one season and that was it. And I really do hate that. There he is. 3-star draw. Punk's always got some shit to say about someone's name. Look, you know what? Offering suggestions, stuff like that. I get it. Look, either way, it was something I've been thinking about for a little while anyway. Just because and just to look, YouTube's a wonderful journey, right? And trying to find those right things that kind of hit, don't hit, whatever it is. And so yeah, but after Thursday, I was like, yeah, I really do need to get on that, and try to figure something out, something fun, something that really does do it. And I see a few mentions already in here,
Yep.
a few names, and so I'm gonna obviously look at those. Hat blender. And that's what I was saying. It doesn't necessarily have to be a play on my screen name or yours or whatever. Just but I love it and keep them coming for sure.
I
Let's
think
see
I think
here.
keep it simple. The blender. No.
Yeah, I mean, listen, sometimes it's really your best option, really,
Right.
is the KISS method, right?
Right.
Keep it simple, stupid. I mean, that's really it. Woody Triple Deuce is in the house. What's up? What's up? Obviously a punk with toys dropping by. Eric Thurman is here. Eye of the hurricane. Yeah, not bad. Hopefully we're out of the middle of it and on the ass end. Clint Jorgensen, two pop culture thinking caps. I do like the hat stuff though. I'm good with that. Definitely. Let's see as I roll down here a little
I just
bit.
wear a hat because I don't think my hair looks good on camera. I mean,
Hey, there's a fella that I know. George Hunt is a fella that I know, and I love
all
me some
right.
Georgie Porgy Puddin Pie. He's a fella that I know from work. Comes in here in Nashville. He's a good dude. Love talking to him. Service industry guy as well. And he was hanging out today. Big Houston Astros fan. They came up a little shy today, but
Mm.
my Mets pulled it out after going down early. So I am happy about that. But thanks for stopping in, George. Hell yeah, I appreciate it, man.
Aaron
Yes,
stopping in to say hello. Did you
absolutely.
see my custom Tomax and Zaymont that I put up there
Yeah, put
in
him up there one
suits?
more time. Show Aaron, Aaron, the toy enhancer. Yeah, yeah. I totally got duped because I just saw an ad for them.
Right. That's why I did it.
Yeah, I just saw an ad for them on those
Yeah.
Reaction Plus or whatever the heck they are. Um, yeah,
It's not
love it,
focusing
man.
real well, but yeah,
No,
I
that's
got the boys going
okay.
on there.
That's all right, baby. The
I
spirit. It's the
I
spirit.
I'm gonna do one more modification to it as soon as I find my modeling compound, and I'm gonna heat up some red flowers to put on the lapels instead of what I'm using there. But
Big B in the house. Yeah, Big B. That's what they call me in community college, Matthew. Did you know that? They call me Big B. And I didn't go to community college. That's what's so amazing about it. And yet I still had that nickname, if you can believe if you can believe that.
Not only did I attend community college for a little while, I taught at one for a decade.
Damn. Jeez Louise. There's so much we don't know about you. We have so much to learn and so much time to learn it. All right. So, real quick, I want to show off a couple things that I got, and I hope that you guys
Thanks, guys.
may try to go out and get that. Yeah, highlight that, by the way, by all means, please.
No, I'm just, that's thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Hell yeah.
Appreciate it.
Check his photos out, right? Like I know you guys do. So real quick, one thing I got the other day from my local comic shop. I'm a huge Fallout fan. I love Fallout. It's my favorite gaming universe. Fallout New Vegas is my favorite game of all time. And no, Dreadnought K6, it's not. This is a Fallout 4 Vault Dwellers Survival Guide, and it was in pristine condition. It came with a manila envelope, so to speak, as well, that had the special stats. They were like posters of the special stats. But this book came with a full-size map of the Boston Commonwealth, but a full-size map of Boston. I'm not going to fold the whole thing out, but on one side is a giant map. On the other side is all the locations. Super, super cool. And then inside of it is a location guide, basically,
Nice.
for the entire game. Every quest, every power armor you can find, every robot, every type of everything. I like I said, I Fallout is just my favorite. I'm absolutely in love with it. Have been for since about 2016, to be honest with you. I was a little late to the party. But I do love it. And so I got this and I was super stoked about it. But there's something else that came via the United States Postal Service today. Amazingly, in good shape.
What? USPS doing it right sometimes?
Yes, my sister's been working for him for almost 30 years. My dad worked for him for 30 plus. And still doing some things right.
One of my good buddies is a federal postal inspector, so he works for
quite
a bit.
Okay. Well, this book I told you guys about a couple weeks ago.
Yes. Okay. So I really wanted to get that. If I had the opportunity, I would have loved to pick that up.
Oh my gosh, dude. May still be available on the website. I don't know. It was not crazy expensive. Had a coupon, I think, attached to it. If you use Chris Gore's Film Threat website or through their YouTube channel. Gotham 1919 to 1939, an unauthorized detailed account of Gotham. Okay, this thing is freaking awesome. Look at the pictures of the Joker. He got these guys. This is a guy who runs a burlesque show in Hollywood. Okay, it's called The Empire Strips Back. He also has some other ones that he's done, including a Batman one. And this is like a 1919 to 1920s. He got these people to pose for photographs in old-timey clothes. Okay, there's a Joker.
But it goes through all of the Batman.
The whole Rogues Gallery. There's Catwoman. Ooh la la.
Yeah.
And they're dressed up in like 1920s clothing. It's really cool. It has a ton of stuff with it. Scarecrow. It's an awesome book. It just came in today. I really, really could not wait for this. I can't wait to go through it here. Since I'm on full screen, I want to show you their version of Deadshot. Okay, Deadshot in the 1920s. Super cool. He got these photos, the costumes, and I'll show you one of the weirder photographs of one of the villains. Look at the guy they got to pose as the Mad Hatter. Like, look at this guy. You know what I mean? Like, just
almost looks like Don Knotts.
Dude, it looks like freaking Don Knotts. They even have like the Jason Todd Robin in here. They have the original Dick Grayson. They have what's his name? Damian Wayne. Here's Crocmaster.
Nice.
So anyway, this book, I was really excited to get it, and this guy did a great job having people pose and dress them up and take these. It's a black and white book, and I can't wait to go through it. It looks so freaking cool.
I really wanted to get that book.
So cool.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, man. Like, and so that's it. It's Gotham 1919 to 1939. It goes through different types of gang wars. It goes through all kinds of stuff. Really, really cool book. Can't wait to go through it. But anyway, so that's a couple things that I just recently got that I kind of wanted to show. And real quick, I want to say hey to Menjoza. Where you at? There you go.
Mendoza.
Yeah, I love it. I love that name too. I love the screen name. I love it. I think it's fantastic.
And you know what? It works better than your previous one, so we appreciate you changing it because
Yeah,
it
no, no,
will
no.
avoid some confusion.
Absolutely. But I think just overall, I love it. I love it. And you got the Joe name in there too.
Yep.
Super cool. Yeah, love it, man. And so real quick, like I said, we got down the chat. 3-star, got to check out that book.
If you can find it, man, he's not allowed to make any more. So all the ones that are left are all the ones that are left.
That's correct.
They put a C&D on him and
Yep.
said, okay, you can sell what you got, but you can't do any more.
That's right. Yeah, it's you can't do anymore. So he's selling his stock and just blasting it out. I got like a nice 10% coupon off on Film Threat YouTube, and so if you get a chance to maybe look it up and go get it, just look up Gotham 1919 book, and you'll probably come across it somehow. Maybe if you do want to buy it, it's not crazy expensive. It's nothing nuts, but it's really awesome. And yes, 3-star WB was making them taken down. Yeah, and they had to stop the burlesque show too. They made him stop
So
the burlesque show as well.
Yeah, he still can do the Star Wars one,
Star Wars
The Empire
one.
Strips Back, but
Yeah.
I believe, but that one is also coming to the end of its run.
Yes.
So he's
I'd
not going to have very many more of those
to
shows.
see that. I'd love to see that. Get out there to LA. I mean, a cesspool, but I'd love to get out there to see that.
Yeah.
I'd love to get out there and hang out with Chris.
I'd love to go to the Millennium Fandom Bar too. I mean,
yes, I know.
I
at least
don't want to
you've
run
gone
into
to
Kevin
a
Smith
meetup
there necessarily, but I wouldn't mind going.
At least you've gone to a meetup, Matthew. That's another conversation for another time. But real quick, Dreadnought K6 says, "What's Mamby's favorite toy line? What's your favorite toy line, Matt?"
I can't decide. I mean,
that's difficult.
I mean, for 6-inch figures, I have 800. 4-inch figures, I probably have some more than that. And I want to say I have 200 classifieds. I think that's probably my largest of all the brands. I've got 60 Action Force, 150 Star Wars, probably about 150 Marvel Legends, and a bunch of independent stuff.
You love all your children, right?
I mean, there's so much to the art, the aesthetic, how it will interact with the universe. But G.I. Joe's always been my biggest at all. I didn't really get it. I mean, my first 2 comic books were Spider-Man, but I really didn't get into Marvel, didn't have access to Marvel until later, because whenever we got out of church and we'd go to 7-Eleven, I'd get a G.I. Joe comic book with my Slurpee, right? So right. If I had to choose what was there, what was forefront in my mind was G.I. Joe. And I got my He-Man comics and all that stuff, but G.I. Joe is what captured my imagination because they did everything with that cartoon.
Yeah, at that time, it was, I mean, for a good probably 3 to 4 year period, just like the, top of the pops for me.
Yep.
And so I'm with you. It would be hard to beat that at that time, at that age, for sure. I know a lot of people would say maybe Transformers,
I never got into Transformers because I never could get them. I mean, I had a couple. I always had some, but they weren't ones that I went out to seek out because, for whatever reason, I watched the cartoon, but it was never really engaging to me as much as G.I. Joe was.
Right. Well, and look, I liked both, but again, the military aspect, the 80s, the Cold War, movies like Red Dawn and crap, like that. I was all about that life. You know what I mean? All right. So let's dig into it, man. I want to ask you guys in the chat. I want to ask you, we've talked about it last week, kind of brought it up. you know, there's a show out there right now. If you have HBO Max, or they call it Max now, there's a show out there that's in episode 2. I'm just going to get right into it. Um, I think it's one of the best shows on television. I think it's very well written. I think the acting is superb.
Yeah.
I can't think of a single actor on this show that at present hasn't that I've looked at an episode
Mm-hmm.
and gone, not buying it. Right?
I mean,
Not
even his protege is
yes,
killing it.
yes,
I mean, what he's doing with his character is phenomenal, and what he's bringing to the table. Everybody in this show is killing
man.
it.
So to set it up for those of you, and as you see the Rotten Tomatoes scores, okay, to set it up for you, this the Penguin on Max, HBO Max, whatever, okay. Um, to set it up, this is a part of the Matt Reeves Batman universe, the most recent Batman movie that came out. Probably a one off. Maybe there's a sequel now that James Gunn has taken over, DC and in charge of those products. We'll see. But this is, yes, part of the Batman universe from that movie. This, Colin Farrell was in that movie for a very small amount as the Penguin. This show centers around him. This is in its through and through a mob show. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, no, it is a crime drama, um, filled with intrigue, innuendo, setups, um, subterfuge. There's so many layers to what's going on, and one of the things that I have really enjoyed so far about this show is that they're not beating you over the head with anything, right?
No.
They're telling a story and they're letting it unfold, and they're letting you come to your own conclusions about whose motivations are what, and what that person or character might be thinking, right? And how they're responding to it. Because for me right now, um, the protege character, I find that character fascinating
Victor?
because, yeah,
Yeah, Victor.
Vincent.
Uh, I thought it was Victor
Okay,
because I think they're trying to. A lot of people are speculating he might be Victor Zaz.
Zaz. Yeah, I was afraid they might do something like that, but
I hope not.
um, I, I don't know. I thought they already had a Zaz, um, but
But
anyway, they're the way he's interacting with it. It's like he was forced into this situation, but he's doing what the Penguin does. He's surviving. He's rolling with the punches. He's doing everything he can, and then he comes up to a boundary, something that he can't do in the second episode, and then how that plays out is really interesting. So
it it is interesting. Obviously, I don't want to go into spoilers about episode 2. I
yeah,
don't mind talking a little bit about episode 1.
yep,
But episode 2, I will say, his little protege, so to speak, is put to the test, and because he is unsuccessful in his quest, um it's a scene that you don't often see involving young people in
yeah,
television, especially.
yep,
It would be I think while I was watching that scene, I thought of myself in an incredibly uncomfortable situation.
right,
And in that situation, and thinking, how could you get roped into something like this? And look, in today's world, look, in the world of cell phones and the world of we have people we can go to okay, but set that aside, right? I think in modern television, it's so hard now, whereas years ago, the only thing you had was maybe a payphone and 50 cents in your pocket. The chances of you being able to get a hold of somebody and this and that, whatever, are so different now, back
mm-hmm.
then. But my point is that, like, how could somebody get roped into this situation? And you could see where, well, he got roped in because guess what? He was a part of doing something pretty crappy.
Yep,
He was doing something pretty bad, and he gets stuck in a situation that he probably maybe didn't want to be in. But like you said, now he might start to embrace it. a little bit, as much as he can. He's young, he's learning the ropes, and as much as learning the ropes from a character like the Penguin could be.
Yeah.
Um, for those of you that don't have Max, and I know a lot of people don't, unless you maybe bundle it or whatever. There
Hey,
are
that latest Disney Plus bundle is
yeah,
Disney Plus with Max and Hulu.
good
So I
God.
mean,
So look, if there's a good time to get it, I'd say House of the Dragon. I'd say this show. I'd say Primal, the animated show Primal, is on
Primal's
Max.
awesome.
That is 100% worth watching. It is
Yep.
absolutely amazing. I mean, there's nobody does premier television better than HBO. No
Yep.
one. I don't care.
Well,
Now, there may be
he-
other shows out there like Breaking Bad and Better
yeah.
Call Saul on AMC or whatever, but consistent
Yep.
prestige television,
Absolutely.
HBO gets it done, right?
And now I got to do a tangent because you said it.
Now, okay,
Get
hang on real quick. Hang on to that
okay.
tangent because Well Hung Banana Hammocks is here. And I just wanted to say the Hammocks doesn't always comment, but the Hammocks is usually watching. And for that, I appreciate it.
Thank
I
you.
always love seeing that name. Okay, tangent on.
Tangent. Gendy Tartakovsky is a brilliant animator and storyteller because he tells stories with images. So I would want him directing anything he wants to direct or work in any medium he wants to work in because he knows how to tell stories. Because
Man.
Dexter's Laboratory was one thing, and that was fun and cute. He's done a couple other things here and there, but Samurai Jack and Primal are complete stories told where the main character almost never speaks.
Doesn't speak, right.
And in Primal, there's almost nothing but sound effects. Right. And so you're going through all these episodes and there is almost no dialogue and it is gripping, it's engaging, and it is proper storytelling.
It's
Right.
badass is what
And
it is.
and it goes into things like the Penguin and the way they're telling stories, because there's a lot that is unsaid, that is subtext for all of it, and you have to be paying attention, you have to be watching to see the emotion and see the subtleties of Falcone's daughter. I mean,
Oh
the
yeah,
way
in Penguin, yes, absolutely.
the way that she just her face changes, especially in
Yes.
that second episode. There's a scene with the little girl, and
Yes.
and the face change, and then
Yes.
the immediate flip in her entire persona, and you can tell she's doing it to almost encourage this idea. Is like, oh, you think this about me? Well, okay, I'm going to prove you right. I'm going to be that. So you pay attention.
and I'm glad you mentioned that because yes, like that, even that moment when you see that change, when you like just that simple thing where this little girl walks up after Sophia, who is another of the main characters. She's one of the daughters of Carmine Falcone. You could say Falcone, I don't care.
And they mix it up in
they mix it up in the show. Yes,
and
they
it's
mix
so
it up in their own show.
Like the Nolan Batman, Ra's al Ghul, make
Ra's
up
al Ghul, right.
pick one.
Yeah, so I'm a Falcone person myself. Is just what I like. Whatever,
Yeah.
I don't care. Bottom line is, she's the daughter of what was the head of the family, and she's been away for a while. She's been away for a while because she's psychotic, and she
was in Arkham.
in Arkham, off some people. She has the nickname the Hangman, which is another thing I liked about the fact that her nickname is the Hangman, but it's a woman, and they didn't play, like there's no games being played here. Like
Right.
this is the nickname she was given. They're not going, okay, it's got to be the Hang Woman or something. If you heard that, you'd be like, oh God. Like it,
Yeah.
but so there's no games being played. But yes, that scene where she's having a conversation with a cousin at a funeral, and the little daughter of the cousin walks up as she's having
so the conversation starts with the girl coming
it's
up.
So good to see you.
And hey, we need to go have a girls' night
Yes.
to Italy to go back overseas and
have fun, like a girls' weekend.
Yep.
And then the little girl walks up and just to tell you, because this is not a spoiler, this is not a story spoiler.
Yep.
The cousin all of a sudden, as Sophia bends down, the crazy girl that got released from Arkham bends down to greet her and talk about she's got a barrette loose in her hair. The cousin draws her daughter in really tightly.
No. So it happened before that. So as soon as she bends down to say hello to the girl, and she is sweet as can be, she's normal, she's just
Oh yeah,
saying hi.
yeah,
The other girl tenses up,
yeah. You
and
see her tense up.
her
Yeah,
physical tension, and then she changes what she's going to do. She's like, "Oh, your barrette is loose. Let me fix it because I
yeah.
know this is going to piss her off because I'm going to try and touch you." And how she responds,
Right.
and then I'm going to respond back, and she can't do shit about it. And so she's like, "Oh no, I'll get it. That's fine." She's like, "I got it. I'm right here." And so she does this whole thing and like says very nice things to the little girl, but she says it in a threatening manner to the mother
She
at the
tells
same
she
time.
tells she tells the mother basically, you better keep her close and keep her protected
Mm-hmm.
because of women. It doesn't always end well for women in our family.
That's
That's what
right.
she says.
Yep.
And while we haven't seen anything happen to the women in the family, you're still understood. This is a mob family, right?
Well,
Anything can happen, and
and
we've
we can
seen it
also
happen.
speculate the environment that she grew up with to twist her mind in this fashion,
Right.
especially when we see the home videos um,
Mm,
kind of right before that
yeah.
scene.
Oh yeah,
So
and it's just the characterization of her is really strong. It's really good.
yeah,
Um, she's just as strong a character in the show as the Penguin. Now, we've talked enough
I,
about
I just
her.
wanted to pull that up just for a second.
I hear you.
I totally understand it. Totally understand it. And you can get Max on its own, but everybody's got their things
Yes.
with all that kind of stuff. And that it works just fine. There's ways to do it
And I think Max
out
on
there.
its own is not that crazy
I,
expensive. So
yeah,
it's not there, and again, that's a Warner product. So they're not
yep,
they're not owned by Disney.
yep.
They're not. That's
There. Okay,
probably
so
some.
there are two major corporations in the world, Coke and Pepsi, right? If you look at most of our food stuff, they're either owned by Coca-Cola or Pepsi. There's
That's
a
true.
couple ancillary ones, but
Right.
essentially it's either owned by Coke or Pepsi. And tied to Coke and Pepsi, right? So Coca-Cola is tied to Disney, Pepsi's tied to Warner Brothers. And so they're like these major corporations that are trying to control everything. And so you've got
Yeah.
the two media opposite factions that are very similar in a lot of cases. So, the lesser of two evils, whatever. But there's always, high seas if
There.
you're
Yes.
if you're wary about that kind of stuff.
There are ways to watch these shows if you just get a little creative, do a little bit of digging. There definitely are ways to catch up on a lot of this stuff
Yep.
without actually having to subscribe to any of them for that
Yeah.
matter. And so yeah, there are definitely ways around it, and I'm with you. Trust me, Dreadnought on that. Like I get it. Matthew and I both we both think the same way along those lines. It really is.
If
Yeah.
if
So,
Disney Plus didn't have Bluey and gummy bears and gargoyles on there, I don't know that we would have it. I'm just
right.
you know
But yeah, so nonetheless, with so let's talk about the Penguin character because this is a person who is obviously only out for himself. He somehow comes up roses. Somehow he is able to make the best out of a situation on the fly. But I think we know that is going to come back to either A, haunt him, or B, something unexpected that he's probably not a step ahead of everybody is going to happen, right? And I think that thing is going to be someone very close to him in the show,
mm,
and that's going to dictate maybe the last couple few episodes. It might take us a little while to get there, but Colin Farrell is unrecognizable in this
no.
outfit, and
you,
yet
you can't show Colin Farrell's picture to anybody and say, no, that's not the guy that's playing the Penguin.
no.
Nobody recognizes him.
And the makeup job that
Yeah.
they've done with him, um, the way that the suit moves with him, the way the facial prosthetics move with his character, his
Yep.
mouth, you still get the emotion, right? He's still able to use his face
Yep.
to show emotion. And so they've done a really wonderful job with the prosthetics that he has that he's wearing.
Yep.
And the if there was one complaint out of that character, it almost would be that I don't like the over the top gangster accent, Italian accent kind of thing. In my mind, the penguin is not quite that,
Yeah, I mean,
involved in that
he had
world.
the stick with the cigarette at the end. I mean, he
Right.
was from a wealthy family, right?
Right. So
Yeah,
this is a
and
different take.
yeah. Well,
But
so he's not there yet, right?
and
So
that
so
could very well be, right?
so we're building up to that. We
Yeah.
don't know much about his home life and family life prior to this, except for the interactions that he has with his mom, which is
Right.
interesting and very
Yes.
Joker-esque from the movie Joker.
Yeah,
Uh,
you know what? I'm glad you said that because that's something that I was actually thinking in this last episode during the
yeah,
scene together. I kind
yep,
of I thought maybe they took a little inspiration from that. That's
maybe
possible.
so, but I think having the villain have something that he wants to protect and hide, because
Right.
in the episode he tells Miss Falcone that his mother died several years ago. After he tells the story about
Yeah.
him and his mom, he's like, "Oh
Yes.
yeah, she died several years ago, so
Yeah.
I never
Rest her
got a chance to
soul.
ask her."
Right. It's but his characterization, I think they've done a great job. You messaged me something earlier about the usage of a kind of slow. I don't know if it's a slow song, but it's a
It is.
jazz 40 standard swing song. It's more like a Sinatra-esque. It's
Mm,
Bobby Darin, and it's a
mm.
song called Mr. Irresponsible. And they do play that to effect during a certain heist scene. Um, it is becoming something, I guess, that you do see in shows where you get a either slow mo or you get kind of a old classic song. I think the Fallout show did it quite a bit,
The
but
one that set it off in my mind, the one that did it perfectly, in my opinion, was the first season of Westworld.
okay,
Because they
that's
took a piano version of Nine Inch Nails songs. They took a
yeah,
piano
wow,
version
holy moly,
of other songs, right? That were of a very different tempo and pacing, and you wouldn't think about it, but it's so catchy. You're like, I've heard this before. Where have I heard this before? And then you realize
yes,
that it's a piano version, a classical version of an industrial song or something like that. And I love the four cellos doing heavy metal. So I've got 3 albums of just 4 cellos doing um, Offspring or Metallica or Megadeth. So I have entire Offspring albums with no lyrics that are played by 4 cellos, so that I can play it in the car with my kids and get
right.
them exposed to some of the music. And so they can catch on to it because it's really catchy what they're doing. And so that kind of stuff I like. But this slowed down, remixed, modernized versions of things like that was in this show, I
I'm
don't know
with
how
you.
I feel about it yet.
Look,
It works sometimes it doesn't, and I think
I,
it's getting a little overplayed.
yeah, I would say that in this show, maybe not quite so much. I will tell you that every new movie trailer that comes out, that they have a girl who sounds like some new singer out there, and they slow a version down, right? They'll take
Mm-hmm.
Sweet Dreams and slow it down, like by
Right.
Eurythmics or a whatever song. It doesn't matter. You're right. Like every time I look at a movie trailer, it's some girl singing a slowed down version of some song. Just wait till you go see the Joker movie.
Yeah.
Just wait till you go see that. You want to talk about slowed down versions of songs, half sung by people barely opening their mouths, mouthing the words. It's like then
Are we talking Weird Al and Nirvana with marbles in my mouth type of
no,
thing? Okay.
actually, I think we're it's a stylistic choice. We'll get
No,
to
I
it.
get it.
It's a stylistic choice, but but no, I mean, yeah, I get it. I mean, are there things that probably you might see in the show and go, look, there a couple of I guess tropes, so to speak. Like some
Mhm.
people say that this is like, oh, it's the Sopranos in the Batman universe.
Yep.
Okay, fine. If you say, well, it's just a classic tale of fight for the next spot on the chain of the being the mob boss. Okay,
Yeah.
fine. Right? Like, yes,
Yeah.
it is.
This show's engaging though.
But yes,
With
the
the
acting,
acting, the
yes.
writing, and it all works together, right? You have to have
Yep.
incredible writing to draw out these kind of performances from the actors, and they have to know what they're working with, and feel comfortable in the environment to do these emotions and express these things. And I think they've been killing it in this.
I agree. You know, I do think that I do
I,
think that it's definitely worth your time. It
Absolutely.
doesn't waste your time.
Look, they're 2 episodes in, so you only have 2 episodes to get caught up
That's
on.
it. Yep.
And this is the point of appointment television, right? If you release episodes weekly, you're going to get 2 months worth of content
Yeah,
of people
man.
talking about it. If
Yeah,
you drop everything all at once, you're going to get 2 weeks at most about people talking about your content, and then it's gone. How
that's
many
right.
people remember One Piece? That show was amazing. They dropped it all at once. We talked about it for 2 weeks, and then nobody mentions it again. Every now and then again, it comes up in conversations, but we could have had 2 months worth of conversation about the TV show and gotten so many more people engaged with it. And people should go watch that one too. So that
It's
was on
so
Netflix.
true. It's so true, man. Like, look, I know the Fallout show for some people had a lot of problems. I know you weren't crazy about it. Look, I enjoyed it. I had a smile on my face watching it, but that's because there were certain things that I just wanted to see depicted on screen. Now, if that made the show for me, great. I
Yeah.
recognized some of the flaws in it. Even when I watched it, I recognized it. But
Yep.
my thing was is that it got all released at one time, and then it was like, oh, the media loves this show, people love this show. But after about 2 or 3 weeks, that nobody's talking about it. And now you've got to wait 2.5 years or 2 years for the next season to get 2 weeks of exposure.
Right.
And so I agree. I love this model. I love appointment television. It reminds me of the days when I couldn't wait till Lost came on, or I couldn't wait
Right.
until 24 came on, or I couldn't wait until whatever came on. And you make it a point to be off that night. You make it a
Yep.
point to record it. You make it a point to rush home, right? It gives you something to look forward to. When you can just
Yep.
watch all 8 episodes over the course of a day and a half, yeah, that's great, but the chances of you going back and watching it again are slim to none.
Right.
And you're going to tell everybody about it for about 2 weeks.
Yeah, and that's what you know. If you have something that you don't like, you drop it all at once because you know it's 2 weeks and it's done, and you bury
Yeah,
it. But if you have something that's good, you got to spread out the release. And Netflix is trying it with what they're doing with Cobra Kai for this last season, and I hate
right,
it. I hate it
right.
because we're going to talk about it for 2 weeks, forget about it, and then nobody's going to know when it comes back, and then maybe we'll get another week or 2 weeks of talking about the next part, and then we got to wait, and we're going to forget about it, and then
Yeah,
nobody's going to know when the third part comes out. And you got this whole back and forth thing that if you just dropped it weekly, you build excitement to a crescendo, right?
yeah. I'm with you. I agree. I love that method better than the binge model, but the
Yeah.
binge model is friendly to consuming a lot of product at one time.
And, but
It
here's the
really is.
thing: after it's all released, you can binge it.
No, well, exactly. That's the whole thing, right? But obviously, any more FOMO or waiting
Yep.
game, people just don't want to play, and it's
Right.
because we've been conditioned now to not have to wait
Well,
so much. I
it's
mean,
the
it just is.
impatientness of the instant gratification society
Yeah,
that we live in.
absolutely. And that's, I'm not saying that's a fault of anybody or
No,
whatever. It's
it's
just
it's
the
just the
the
way it
way
is.
it's just the way it is, and I think just you get conditioned by your surroundings and the way that things operate, and
Yep.
that's the way things operate now. And so yeah, but I do prefer this. I do love the show. I think if you haven't watched it, you're right. You only have a couple episodes to get to catch up on, to get ready for the next one next Sunday night.
And
It,
and and
it
since we haven't seen all of it, we can't tell you where it's going. But right now, it's really good. So check it
it
out.
is, man. It really is. So yeah, check it out.
I,
If you can tell by the way we talk about it, like
yeah.
especially we don't disagree on a lot of stuff, but by the way we're both talking about it, it's worth your time. Like this is
So
worth your time.
I mentioned this before to you, but I want to mention it so everybody hears it. There's this thing in episode 2 that happens that is a subtle psychological manipulation kind of thing that's awesome. And it's like the FedEx logo. If somebody tells you there's an arrow in the FedEx logo and you see it, it
Oh yeah.
it breaks the illusion, but it's there and it creates
Yes.
motion and it creates energy, right? And this show has that in its logo. So if you look closely, that G in the logo looks like the penguin's nose in a very cartoonish version. Well, in
Okay.
episode 2, they did the Paramount Pictures Indiana Jones logo fade into reality. And so for
Yeah.
the first 3 Indiana Jones movies, as you fade in, you go from the Paramount Pictures logo, which is the mountaintop, to a mountaintop,
Now I
right?
know what you're talking about when you're saying. Okay, I got
and
you.
and so this is the same thing. That
Yeah.
G in the penguin fades right into Oswald Cobblepot's face, right on his nose. So his nose becomes the
That's
nose
right.
that was on the thing
Yeah,
there.
because in the logo of the show, the G, it is a nose, right? It is
Yep.
the penguin's nose,
Yep.
and then they flash that logo up on the screen at the beginning, and you see it, right? And then it fades out. But you're right, they did do that. They faded it out right onto him, and
Yep.
his nose matches that spot. But yeah, in the logo, the G, it's his nose, and I think that's genius. I think it's a fun little thing.
Yep.
Uh, so yeah, check it out. It's worth your time. Both of us are raving
Absolutely.
about it. I would not tell you, I would definitely not lead you wrong on this one. It is a good show. It's engaging, like Matthew said, and the
Absolutely.
acting is absolutely fantastic. It
I,
really,
I
really is.
did want to mention this real quick.
Yeah.
Ben Josa, you said Two Cellos Rocks. I'm not familiar with Two Cellos, but Hamilton String Quartet is the one that does like Nine Inch Nails and Offspring and that kind of stuff. There's another one called Four Cellos, and there was a third one.
Three
Um,
cellos.
four, yeah, four.
Just kidding. You said a third one. Third cellos.
What? but there's 3 of them that put out a series of heavy metal industrial type of albums that were based off of 4 stringed instruments. 2 of them are usually cellos or bass or something. But yeah, no, that I love that kind of stuff. I think that's
Well,
so cool.
going down, oh no. Going down chat real quick. Yeah, Frostbite's Fallout is a great show. Never played the game. I recommend you play the game. It's greater than the show. Especially Fallout 3, New Vegas,
Yep.
are
I will
absolutely
say
wonderful.
that is definitively
Wonderful.
true. The game is better than the show.
Yeah. Look, I can't help it though, but
I
I
know,
did
I
did
know,
like
I
the
know.
show, but the games are
Hey, you know
fantastic.
what? We all have our things. I
Yes, we
like
do.
the live action Ghost in the Shell movie. Okay, sue me.
Okay.
Okay, it's a
Yeah.
guilty pleasure. I
Wow.
like it, and people get all up in arms about it. But if you read the comic book and the creator's original intent, uh, Major Kusanagi specifically had an Eastern European body built for her.
Well, I'll tell you
Right.
what, I like the
So
body they got for the live action.
I'm just saying. I mean, they did some weird stuff in that movie. I get it. I still enjoyed it. I thought it was fun, and people got hung up that she
She was
wasn't
hot.
Japanese. But
Yes,
in
I
the
don't care.
comic book and anime, technically, she had an Eastern European designed female
Right.
body because that had the best armaments and all espionage and all that stuff.
Just
And so
wait.
it was a
Just
thing.
wait. Just wait until the people that get mad not casting a Romani as Doctor Doom. Just wait till when that happens. The people are
Yeah.
going to come out of the woodwork about that.
Yeah.
Let's see what we got. 3-star draw. Keep getting a start watching season 2 of Tulsa King.
I like
Yeah,
Tulsa King. I laugh every episode. I enjoy that show. Has been engaging.
Sly Stallone's good.
And he's doing a great job with that. So are the other characters in that movie. But really, there's about 3 characters that are doing really well in that show, in my opinion. And they just brought in John Bernthal, and that'll be interesting. Little
Yes.
twist. The writing on that show is great. The acting is good, but they don't have the vibrancy of all the characters in the Penguin in my mind.
Yeah, I can say that, but it cracks me up
Mm-hmm.
often. Stallone's
Yeah.
just a tour de force, dude. I'm
Oh
sorry.
yeah.
He just is.
No.
And Joseph says Game of Thrones were always better to me when they did the marathons, which I mean, yeah, if you could stream once you get up to like 3, 4 seasons, and you
Yeah.
just have to just plow through it, right? You know what I
Right.
mean? And then Clint Jorgensen says, great show. I hope gets season 3 is The Gilded Age. I have not seen The Gilded Age. You gotta tell me about that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not familiar with that show. And 3-star draw is a big fan of 2 cellos and 1 cup. I think we've all seen that video. We've all seen the 2 cellos, 1 cup. One of my favorites. Hopefully, it's one of yours too.
Maybe
Um,
that's what Mendoza was talking about
I,
earlier.
I think, I think,
That went right over my head. Sorry, I missed it. I'm sorry.
And then Eric Durbin says, seen Nine Inch Nails a couple times. I've never seen them. I have a couple friends and guys I played with that were
So funny
big
enough,
into Nine Inch
the
Nails.
Nine Inch Nails played at a place called the Bomb Factory here in downtown Dallas, and they broke the fire code. The fire marshal had to shut the show down because the Bomb Factory is
Wow.
essentially set up for like 86 people or something like
Okay.
that, and there
Yeah.
was 200 people
Well over
crammed in
5
there.
days. Sure. Yep. Yep. Was it one of those little pop-up shows? Is that what or
No, it's not. The Bomb Factory is a big destination for a lot of indie bands and stuff like that in the
yeah.
'90s. It was a phenomenal place to go catch live music all the time, and it was a party scene every time. And they got Trent Reznor. I mean, they had Pantera come there, right?
Man. Yeah.
And so they had big name people come there, but they only had about 120 person venue
Capacity.
approved,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then you get 250 people crammed in there,
Not
and
gonna
the
work.
bouncers are trying to stop people from getting in, but they just can't.
Once the fire marshal hears about that, fire department hears about it, somebody calls or just kind
Yep.
of, or they have word already. They know what's going on around town,
Hey,
right?
there's the name for it, right? Ronnie's got it there.
I saw that 2 hats, 1 stream. Look out, baby. Look out. Yeah. Ice cream cone video coming to you. Um, wait a minute. uh, real quick, Frostbite says, come play Warcraft. It's not ridiculously addictive at all. Yeah. Right.
They don't call it crack for nothing.
That's right. And then Mendoza, yeah, Fallout 4 definitely. He played it so long his son taught himself to play the theme on piano. I think that's freaking awesome. And it was my jam as well for a while, and it was my son's jam as well, and he still loves playing it. So yeah, man. All right, so Penguin, go watch it. Don't be stupid. Seriously, like check it out if you can. Find a way. Find a way. There's a way. It's worth your time. Okay, so listen, most everybody in here collects toys. Most everybody watching this show collects toys. Most of y'all, I would assume, if all of you, actually, I would assume, except maybe George. I'd say George probably doesn't. I know
Well, of
George
the people commenting that we know
of the people commenting that we know of. So, let's talk a little bit about this. We don't have to go super deep dive, but it is going to possibly be something that is going to affect many of us and many of you ordering toys from overseas in particular. And so let me bring this up really quickly. I brought up a toy association article actually that I
yeah,
wanted to share because that was
yeah,
really
I've
the
seen
most
that one.
relevant to us. Are there CNN articles? Are there New York
Yeah,
Times, New York Post? Yes, of course there are.
yeah, but they're focusing on a little bit different things,
Yes,
but
sir.
you
Toy
know, and
Association in particular obviously is trying to, now a lot of these articles, real quick, not to cut you off, but I just want to say real quick, a lot of these articles are copy and pasted over each other. It
right.
is literally the same few paragraphs from every news source, just copying, pasting the same statistics and stuff like
Mhm.
that. But I think these are interesting things to mention. Now, what were you going to say real quick? I want to step
I
on you.
no, it's just this affects East Coast and Gulfport ports, right? Or Gulf
Yes.
Shore ports. So
Yes.
it's not a West Coast thing. And so
No.
most of the toy stuff comes in through the West Coast distribution centers because they're coming from China, they're coming from Asia, right?
Right.
So if it's coming that way, it might be okay. But for those people who like Irish whiskeys and things like that, things that are coming from the other side might have more difficulty getting them. And there are certain things that do come in through the east side, foodstuffs and things like that are going to be restricted based off of this
Yes.
strike.
So what you've seen, and I'm not saying I'm going to quell those fears. But what you said is actually absolutely true. 3 Star agrees with you there. Um, yes. So here's the deal. You've seen these headlines. You say, "Oh, the toys and games industry, Christmas." So they're saying these things in these headlines because of Christmas,
Mm-hmm.
because the holiday season.
Yep.
So the media's job is to create what, Matthew? Like, just it's
It's
a
fear and
four-letter word.
anxiety.
Fear. You just said it. It's a four-letter word. Fear and, yes, anxiety. The media's job is to create fear. We see it every day. It is to promote the buying of consumer goods. It is to promote FOMO. It is to promote you having anxiety and spending money. Um, you know, how much is this going to affect toy collectors? Again, where are all your toys made? Right? Where are they coming in? Through the West Coast.
Yeah.
Now, they recently went through a labor issue not too long ago, but they settled. They signed contracts. This is on the East Coast and the Gulf, like you said. Now, if this is something they started striking today, October 1st,
Yep.
if this is something that lasts for weeks or longer, then yes, you are being advised to stock up. You're being advised to stock up on essential goods. The
So
prices may go up, they may
in the township,
foodstuffs.
yep, in the township near me, a report was already put out by the city stating that Costco has been wiped out of toilet paper again already. I
I
mean,
already thought about going to Kroger today, and then I just said, "The hell with it." I was like, because I guarantee you right now, the Kroger down the street is a shit show.
yeah,
I mean, I truly believe that. Like, and I don't even have to go to know it. I bet
yeah,
you today, people getting off work, 5 o'clock whistle, hauling ass to Kroger and
yep.
Walmart, which God bless anybody that goes into a Walmart, including myself. Good luck just trying to go there for 1 or 2 items. You can read that one if you want to there.
Yeah, so a lot of retailers saw this coming and pre-ordered a lot of stuff.
Yep.
The West Coast ports are picking up the slack. Yeah, and that's very true because this article even states because of the volatility of the distribution chain, a lot of people pre-plan to load up their fourth quarter stuff earlier than expected. So they were trying to get all their fourth quarter stuff in early because they saw this coming. They knew that there was going to be an issue coming up,
Yes.
and what the longshoremen are asking for is probably a negotiating tactic. I'll say that because some of the stuff they're asking for is just not even possible.
Well, and so talking about the holiday season too, like some of these retailers, went ahead and started trying to stock up, and of course anymore. I mean, let's not kid ourselves anymore. It's your big box stores. Years ago you had individual toy stores and retailers you would go to. You go to the mall. Now it's your Walmarts, right? It's your Walmarts, your Targets, your big box stores that carry all the stuff, probably trying to stock up as much as they can. It now look, again, these statistics right here, U.S. East Coast and Gulf ports handle billions of dollars in trade monthly, about 43% of all U.S. imports. That is a heavy number, and it says it could cost 4.5 to $7.5 billion per week,
Yeah,
overall economic impact.
yep,
So, it's not like this is not a big deal. I think that, right here, just to show you in this statement right here, the strike threatens to severely disrupt the U.S. toy industry, which contributes 157.5 billion to the economy. by disrupting the supply chain and preventing critical holiday shipments from reaching shelves on time. That's the CEO of the Toy Association. It's part of a coalition of impacted industries that continues to urge the Biden administration to immediately intervene on this issue and help the ILA and USMX come to a solution at the bargaining table as soon as possible. That will not happen because the Taft Hartley Act,
Mm-hmm.
which was written up many years ago to allow the
Yep.
government to force striking workers to work during labor negotiations, they
Yep.
will not enact that. It is not going to happen. Now, conversely, you've also seen that there's been no public endorsement of either political candidate by the union this year.
Right.
They've refused to back either candidate, and it's
Which
because
is surprising.
a little bit. Yep, I'd say so. It is surprising, but I think they believe that neither, candidate really has their interests, I guess, at heart, nor
Or
would
they think
intervene.
that maybe one of them does, but they don't want to say it.
Right. But yeah. But they
Uh,
won't
because only one
intervene.
candidate has actually met with the longshoremen's union, by the
Right.
way.
That's true. Yes. And I'll let you posit your guesses on that.
Yeah.
So, from a consumer perspective, it starts with delays in availability and then starts to surface as product shortages within toys. At retail for the toy industry, it results in potentially higher prices based on scarcity and increased costs. Now, are you going to see your GI Joe classifieds go from $24.99 or whatever they are to $32.99? I
Not
don't think
yet.
we're not going to see that immediately.
Yep.
We're not gonna see that, but yeah, if it drags on when you go to order those Hasbro, Pulse exclusives or whatever, yeah, they might go out. I mean, that's it's part of it, right?
Yep.
I mean, obviously, this strike is basically over pay for the most part. I think the workers are asking for like a 77% pay increase.
Yep.
Woo!
77% pay increase. Now,
Yeah.
that
Holy
is
cow.
not doable, I don't
Over
believe.
6 years. So, it'd be
Oh, okay.
77% higher over the course of 6 years. So, in 6 years, it would be from now to it would be 77%
Okay.
higher
Okay.
than what they're
So
making
that
now.
makes sense based on the
Right.
last 4 years of inflation that we've had.
Absolutely. And so that's why part of the reason they're striking as well, right?
Yeah. Well,
And
and
automation.
yeah. And so that's been a big thing across every company because everyone has taken a pay cut. Even if they got a raise, you're taking a
Yes.
pay cut because your dollar doesn't go as much as it did before because of the rapid, massive amounts of inflation over the last 4 years.
Yes, rapid amounts,
Yeah.
and no one can deny that. And
Nope.
to bury your head in the sand and pretend, you know, is
Yep.
is the wrong way to handle that for
I
sure.
mean, we've
But
seen our grocery bills
oh goodness
skyrocket.
gracious. Yeah, go, get a hand cart, get a
Yep.
hand basket,
Yep.
and go in the hand basket and it's like, $80 if you buy a 12 pack of sodas for $10.
Well, yeah.
It really is. It's like almost 100 freaking dollars with a hand basket. I can't fill it up and I'm like, holy shit.
Yep.
So yes. Will this get in the way of your Savage Crucibles? Will it get in the way of your classifieds? Will it get in the way of your HasLabs? Will it get in the way? The Dragonfly, right? Like, we had reports where there's X amount of thousand that's already been hitting the shores now, right? Well, maybe that's preemptive. Maybe that's preemptive by Hasbro to say, hey, we need this product and we need it now,
Yep.
right? We're expecting this.
Well,
They have
and
their finger on the pulse, right? Like, they
yeah,
know that, no pun intended.
but they already had a delay with the Dragonfly for whatever
Right.
reason that we are
Right, right,
not
right.
privy to.
Whatever.
There was a delay in it, so I'm sure they're like, yeah, we have to put this delay out, but you guys at the factory need to speed this crap up because we need it
Right.
by this date because we don't know about this strike and how it's going to go down and how it's going to
Right.
affect us.
So
So,
this is early stages. The reason I wanted to bring it up, and you had kind of messaged me, and I thought, It's going to be on the day that it starts, and the
Yep.
toy industry, and the headlines, literally, the headlines, all of them said toy and games industry, toy and games
One game.
industry.
Yep.
Everyone you brought up said toy and
Yep.
games. So, and
What
that
what
I
gets
knew would
me,
be, include a lot of people in this chat tonight.
yep,
So,
is I've already seen this in some of the Facebook groups, because Facebook is Facebook, right? People are posting just,
yeah,
hey, what do you guys think about this? And you've got people in there already going, we're talking about toys here. It's not a big deal. This is going to affect millions of people across the country.
sure.
And, da, 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 da. I'm like, okay,
Uh-huh.
dude, this is a toy group, so we're going to talk about toys here,
Yeah, and
right?
tell me that you're not mad when something gets delayed or it takes longer than
Uh,
you think it should take, or this or that, and people get all
right.
upset about it. And now they're going to act like it's no big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm like, come on, man. Let's be a little more genuous in your response here. I get it. Yes, we are talking about toys. Yes,
Right.
this is affecting the entire nation, because they're holding us hostage now, or at least the East Coast and ports,
Yes.
distribution centers, hostage now for distributing things that we're getting from overseas. And quite frankly, we're getting way too much from overseas. And that's something that
43%.
one of our candidates is a big platform on, and getting stuff brought back to the United States.
Correct. Yes.
And manufacturing in the United States is difficult right now
That's correct.
because of the unions. And we talk about a lot of people that we like, but Eric July made a huge mistake, and not love him, hate him, whatever. But Bobby Valid reached out to Eric July and said, "Hey, we'd like to do toys for you."
Right.
And he's like, "Well, where do you manufacture?" He's like, "Well, we do it in China like everyone else." And he's like, "Oh, I won't touch that. It's got to be manufactured in the United States or something like that." And he's like, "Well, here's the logistics of it. You can't do it. There is not a factory inside the United States that can produce these things in the quantities necessary or the qualities necessary. Not one single manufacturer in the United States is tooled for such events, right?
Right.
It's going to take a decade of retooling and retraining these factories to produce the stuff that we actually need in this country, not to
Yep.
mention luxuries like toys, but I'm talking about regular manufacturing, to get it to the precision that's necessary and the quality that's necessary to produce the stuff that we're getting from overseas right now. And we are too dependent on foreign things.
100%. And you are right though, is that um yes. Will it
What's up,
will it
Nolan? Good to see
will
you,
it
bud.
yeah, and actually if you can highlight a couple of those for me. I'm bringing something up. I saw Nolan, I saw Todd C in there as well.
Todd C, what's up, buddy?
Yes.
Thanks for stopping by.
I want to share this real quick. Yep,
Same
here's
time, toys. We miss greeting you as you came in
hell
too.
yeah. By the
Good
way,
to see
same
you.
time, you were going off the air as I was tuning in, I think, on my way home. Right as I was in rush hour traffic. I know it was
Yeah.
drive time, but I pulled up your stream, and I want to say I thought at the time you were maybe going off, but I had a call come in, and then I was on the phone for a little while. But I actually did click on your YouTube stream and was
But
going to
not with
jump
your
in there
cousin,
for a
though,
minute.
because he was trying to call you too. But
Well, no, he didn't try, but he wanted to, and I was cooking burgers and saving shit to my stream deck and texting you at the same time. I had a lot of shit going on. My God. By George. Here's the great toilet paper 2.0 shortage that has started at Costco. Here you go, right
oh,
here.
you found it. Nice.
I went to Twitter and typed in toilet paper, and I wanted to see, oh no, here we go.
Yeah, and
Here
this
in
is
New Jersey.
2.0 for Australian friends who are unaware. This was the massive shortage that we had in 2020 when we were
Uh-oh.
locked down for COVID. Is all the
Yep.
toilet paper was bought up by everybody because they were trying to sell it on eBay.
Yep. So here you go. This is Marjorie Taylor Greene, and this is probably a Walmart or something. There's the toilet paper aisle because, of course, everybody's freaking out
Yeah.
about not being able to get toilet paper. That I don't believe we import toilet paper, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't believe we do. I think that's
And
something we can produce here.
so it shows you how small-minded and idiotic people are that they
Oh yeah.
don't read things for themselves. They don't read. They see the headline and they don't read the article. And look,
No.
I'll be the first one to tell you a lot of these articles are shit because
Yep.
there's terrible people out there getting paid 3 cents a word to write articles for you that have misspellings and punctual errors and all kinds of shit.
They're paid 3 cents a word and they can't get a word right
Right.
because
But
chat
nonetheless,
GPT it and
uh-huh.
the AI can't speak English properly. So
And here we go, right here. Look, bringing him a bottle of water, diapers. In this country in COVID, there was a shortage on baby formula.
oh yeah,
Let's
there was.
let's
Yeah.
let's get a real grip, folks. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, get a grip. And again, yes, we were talking about toys,
Yep.
but here you're starting to see the signs. Sorry, we're out of paper towels and toilet paper. I mean, goddamn, install a bidet on your toilet. It's easy. You can do it. Spray your ass. Seriously. I mean, come on. Like, I'm not kidding. It's this is ridiculous. Like, it is truly ridiculous. But I just wanted to share that because Three
Yep.
Star had mentioned, have you seen, the and all of a sudden it started, and that's why I said I bet Kroger was a real shit show tonight, and I just decided not to go. Uh, Plenty of toilet paper, good to go.
What's up, Tony? Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, Tony's Figs into his house. So yeah, man, just wanted to bring that to y'all's attention, just kind of put a little bit of light on it. Like Matthew said, a lot of that stuff coming in from the West Coast, coming in from China or Taiwan and other areas. East Coast, Now, we don't also import a lot of food goods per se. Bananas would be something that you might not be able to get here in a few weeks if things dry up a bit,
That's okay.
but
They're not really bananas anymore anyway.
not really. But yes,
That's
so
a whole
we'll
other
see.
story. Bananas and strawberries were completely wiped out at two different points in time, and they've had to genetically engineer them to make them what they are today. So what we know
Absolutely.
as bananas are not what bananas were 50 years ago.
Have you
Strawberries are not what strawberries were 50 years ago.
have you ever put strawberries in is it bleach? And
No,
then
no. Yeah, but I know what you're talking about.
yeah, that shit looks weird. Looks like
Yeah.
worms coming out of the
Yeah.
strawberries. Very strange. All right. So
Yeah.
anyway, all right. So that's that. Don't worry if things start to go a few weeks, then we'll maybe we can kind of start to worry a bit. But overall, yeah. I mean, I think we're gonna be okay. Wraith Mace in the house. What's up, buddy? Always good to see you, my friend. Hope things are well and going well, transpiring well, recovering well. Most definitely. And then Same Time Toys just sends you that, says Matthew, we got to talk for real. So yes, actually, Alex, the guy on the left, and that's not you, Matthew, that's me. The guy on the left is super gay. He's one of the gayest people I've ever known in my entire life. Alex, the next time I see you, I'm going to give you the old 1-2. Those brothers have probably had a few beers and been watching some baseball today. Let's just say that. All right. I love you,
Anybody
Alex.
playing? Well, how about those
Goofball.
A's? I guess they're losing the A's in California, huh?
Moving to Vegas. Moving to Vegas.
Vegas. What a joke.
Another crying shame, shall we say.
Hey,
Uh,
you know what? In a one party state, it's what you get.
Yeah, it is. And I saw where Gavin Newsom just signed legislature today to outlaw voter ID for having an ID to vote. So you don't have to have an identification to vote in California. I just saw that story today. Look it up.
Wow.
Yeah, I just signed it today. So you don't have to
All
prove who
right.
you
So
are to be able to vote.
all the dead people go to California to
That's
vote.
right. There you
All of
go.
the people from foreign countries, the foreign
Yep.
Nationals. Go vote in California.
So let's get on to a topic that's near and dear to my heart, and I know it's near and dear to our viewers. Let's get to Daisy Ridley blames men. Yes, Daisy Ridley, the actress who portrayed Rey in the ever so popular sequel trilogy of Star Wars, has a new comment out in a interview she did with, I believe, Premiere
Now,
Magazine.
okay. I mean, take this in context, right?
Yes.
Actors are devoid of anything. They fill the shape of the vessel that they're in, right?
Yes.
So when you get attacked with questions, and the questions are posed in a very dramatic way, a very
As
specific
in,
way.
after 2 episodes of Agatha, I've heard this. Is this the gayest Marvel show ever created?
Yeah. So to be fair, I'm pretty sure she's just a vapid vessel waiting
Right.
for to agree with whoever she's next to at the moment. And so this may not be her truly saying this. I don't know. She's never said anything prior to this that would put her in this light like Brie Larson,
I've never
right?
look, I agree with you. I've never heard her really go jump on this bandwagon. For the
Yeah.
most part, she seemed to be very gracious to have
Yep.
played the part. She
Yep.
seems to have liked the fact that, yes, she got to participate in Star Wars. She was the star for 3 movies. They focused on her character. But many times I've seen her actually really kind of, yes, fans are passionate, whatever, whatever.
Yeah.
And for that, I always appreciated, because no
Right.
matter what you think about those 3 movies, and I don't think much of them,
Yeah.
she didn't seem to be someone who jumped on the, Kelly Tran, or whatever, left social media because of all the fan backlash, which is, Kelly
Which
Marie
is a
Tran,
lie,
which is a
because
lie. Yes, it's a
if you
lie.
see what Kelly Marie Tran actually said, and
Yes.
and then they go back to Ahmed Best, right? And you go
Same
all the way
thing.
back to Ahmed Best, and what
Yeah.
Ahmed Best said about it was the media
It's the
was
media.
attacking him,
Yes.
not the fans. The
Right.
fans never attacked him. And so
Mhm.
this is the one of the weirdest twists and manipulations that people have done. It is all done from the corporate level on down. They've twisted this into saying that the fans are doing this. Well, it's not the fans, it's the media that's doing this.
So
Yes, there's some bad actors out there, there's some idiots out there, but the
yeah.
vast majority of people who love these products want it to be the best. And so they help support these people, even when they're not doing what they want them to. They want to say, oh, we love you, but what about this, what about that, and they go about it that way. And so to say that there's toxic fandom, I say you're the biggest idiot on the planet, because you don't know what fandom even is if you
Well,
say it's toxic, because we are always talking about the differences, we're always disagreeing, we're always arguing, we're always going about it this way, that way, and it's supposed to be that way because there's an element of gatekeeping to fandom. It's like, we want to see how much knowledge you have to bring to the table, and if you don't, we're here to help educate you. But at the same time, you got to know some basics,
yes.
right? And to go in and to blame it on one entire group of people is ludicrous.
Well, and I also think it's disingenuous. I
Yes.
think it's not authentic. I think this is
Correct.
something that's been fed to, or told to, or a
Yep.
publicist has mentioned this. A lot of times these questions tend to be pre-screened. Now,
Yep.
I'm not saying this one is or was or whatever. And then sometimes on
Yep.
the red carpet, you get some idiot walk up and ask you if your show is the gayest show ever made. And you have to respond to that, right?
Right.
And so my thing is that, here and just reading this, during an interview with Premiere, which this may be, it says translation via Google Translate. This very well may be like a foreign press. This may be a foreign magazine. So
Yeah.
then there's a lot of things there as well. But
Correct.
basically, it says, Daisy Ridley was asked if she felt this, and these are the words that really kind of make me mad. She was asked if she felt this violent reaction to Rey. Okay, now, again, you have to take the context of the words. The reporter saying she was asked if she felt this violent reaction, as in did she feel the fans and their violent reaction to the character? So
Wait, the,
violent
the the
is a
violent
word.
reaction. Were there riots? Were there people being murdered and shot and beat
Okay.
up because Rey was in a Star Wars movie?
Okay, so
I
that
mean,
yes,
violent
that's my
reaction?
first thing, right? Violent is a word that is being thrown in there. It's a gaslighting word. We see it
Yes.
all the time, shit like that. And
If
so
you if
her
you switch a couple letters there and say volatile reaction, maybe, maybe,
okay,
but I don't think anybody was trashing Daisy Ridley.
and I'll give you my piece on that in a second, as far as that goes. So her response to the question was asked if she felt this violent reaction to Ray. She says, "No, no, no. I know that some people have expressed themselves negatively, but I don't pay attention to it because it doesn't really concern me. I can't change the way some men see women. Unfortunately, that's how society works." Then she explained how she's chosen to respond to hate from Star Wars fans. Overall, I've been very well received. I've made the choice to focus on the positive. Okay. Okay. So let's unpack this shit. Number one, all right. Because people criticize the movies, then all of a sudden they're labeled negative, right? Because they have criticism that those movies were poorly written, not well put together, and obviously slapdash, and they didn't have a plan. They obviously did not have a plan, and they
She
didn't
knows
think
this
it through.
because from the beginning of the
She's
filming
even
of the
said
first
it.
episode, she
Yes.
has said she was supposed to be a Kenobi, and then they switched it on her.
And she even said during the third movie in interviews, she even said, "Well, I thought I was supposed to be this, and then we'd show up, and I don't really know. I have no idea." And then I'm
Yep.
like, "Oh wow, okay, that's what it's supposed to be." So, so there's no game plan, right? So fans are critical.
Yep.
So ever since then, they've always been labeled as being negative. They've always
Mhm.
been labeled as A, being racist or misogynistic
Yep.
or phobic of some kind
Yep.
because they had criticisms for those movies. Now, the
You
thing that
cannot criticize the corporation without being labeled an ist or a phobe because the
absolutely
corporation is king. The corporation is your ruler and master, and you must agree with everything that they give you. You must be happy for everything that they give you. Otherwise, you are going to be an ist or a phobe. And we've seen this with Star Wars Explained, with
right.
Star Wars Theory and their battle that's been going on with Pablo Hidalgo, with Dave Filoni, and so many others that have jumped on this bandwagon of attacking fans for loving Star Wars.
So what I want to know though is what does she mean when she says I can't change the way some men see women? What what is she referring to? So how did men see her and how does she equate men in particular? A majority of Star Wars fans are men. Let's get that out of the way. Not all, but a majority are overwhelmingly men because it's a hero's journey. It has been that way since forever.
Yeah.
But what does she mean by I can't change the way some men see women? So is she equating
Okay. So
that to the fact that people didn't like the character of Rey because they thought she was a Mary Sue or she wasn't well written or she was given all these powers without working for them? We never saw her really training for her powers. She was, you see what I'm saying? But yet because
she's
you
a
are critical of
yeah.
that, she thinks that you see women negatively,
Yeah.
okay, and you see all women, and therefore you're not allowed to criticize a
No.
fictional character on a written page
Now
that's
now
filmed in a movie.
let's dissect this for a second. What are the exact words that she used?
Well, it's right here. It
She
says
cannot change the
I
opinion
can't
of
change the way
the
some
way
men see women.
some men view women.
Right.
Okay, this is her out. This is her scapegoat. This is her. The media is going to twist it one way, and some people are going to twist
Sure.
it another way. And she's right. She cannot change the way some men view women because there are still misogynists out there, right?
Sure.
There are a small group of them, and they're going to spin it into this context where she makes this statement because she wants to agree with the person who she's talking to because she's a vapid actor. And you
Yeah,
have to agree with all these people so that you get more interviews and you get the praise and the accolades and all this other stuff. But she's not savvy enough to word it more specifically, or whatever, to deflect the question or to change it like Henry Cavill is and some other people are. But she just fell into the trap, and she used the language in such a way that they could twist it to mean something that she probably doesn't believe
I
in
agree.
reality.
I agree with you. And I was gonna say that. I agree with
Yeah.
you. I believe she doesn't because she's revealed prior to this that she doesn't believe it. There's two or three comments in there that I got to highlight in that. And I absolutely love them and I don't care and I'm going to highlight them. I think they're fantastic. So I believe, yeah, that one's one of them for sure. I'm gonna say gonna probably have a stroke is what I'm guessing that is. So I don't believe she believes this. I don't
No.
believe. I believe that since they talked about her starring in a new movie, she has had to now, okay, after being a few years away, removed, and then getting back to being a normal person and not in that huge spotlight because let's face it, right? Anything else she's done other than Star Wars has been a nothing burger. And I think she's
No,
able.
to be fair, she's done stuff where she acted really well in, and I've seen
It
some of
doesn't
that
matter.
stuff.
Nobody, yeah, but nobody saw it. Let's not kid
Okay.
ourselves.
Yeah,
I mean, let's be real.
I'm gonna
Okay.
agree with you there, but I'm
Yeah.
gonna say she has other projects and she has shown her ability to
Fine.
act and engage with the scenery and stuff.
Right.
But right now she's known for this trilogy. Unfortunately for her, I
And
believe.
so exactly. Now the problem is she falls back into this Disney cycle and she has to recycle this shit from the publicist, right? I don't think she really believes what she's saying here.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'd love to see the interview. I'd love to
Yeah,
see it. If it is a foreign, interview, I'd love to. I'd like to get context because the story kind of blew up a little bit. It's about 5 days old,
yeah.
6 days old. But the problem is, and this is what I'm getting to. Okay, comments like this, all right, my friends, do not help you
Nope.
when we're now talking about things like this happening. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's get rid of the ads because I hate websites. Star Wars: The New Jedi Order now on hold at Lucasfilm. Now, this has neither been confirmed nor denied. However, I want to get into this story a little bit because I believe this is never going to come out.
Yep.
Um,
No,
I, I,
and this is about Disney, right? Disney never cancels a project. They just don't talk
right.
about it until people forget.
Yeah, it quietly
Right?
goes away.
Where okay, you've got the list. I know. Where's our Ryan
I
Johnson
have the
trilogy?
list. I have the
Where's
list.
I mean, we've got so many things that we're waiting on that are never going to happen. The Blade movie is never going to happen.
So
not
so
under Mahershala
I
Ali. That's for darn sure. He walked off the set 4 months ago. He walked off the set in
yes.
June, and
Yes.
he said, "I'm never coming back."
So
And people don't believe me, but it's been said. It's
yeah,
happened.
no, absolutely. So I wanted to bring this. I just wanted to show a couple things. I mean, Joseph says I was called a toxic fan when the prequels came out, and I had criticism for those films. But even the prequels, the thing of it was though is that early internet, and I think that it was more media back then than anything when it came to
Yep.
the criticism.
Right.
And I think fan criticism, while it was there, was not the way it's portrayed now because I think it was super early internet in 99, 2003, 2002, 2005.
Do you know what I think the best fan criticism of the prequel trilogy was, or at least the Phantom Menace?
Roger Ebert, maybe?
The movie fanboys.
Oh gosh. Oh my gosh. Yes. I've seen it one time.
Yeah.
I
This is a
rented
movie.
it.
This is a movie based on a true story
Yes.
something similar happened where, this kid, he got cancer. He was a huge Star Wars fan. He was probably going to die before the Phantom Menace came out,
Mm-hmm.
and so the movie's based on his fictionalized representation of this group of friends getting this guy to Lucasfilm to break into Lucasfilm to steal a copy of the film, and then they break in, they get caught, and basically Lucas allows this kid to watch the film, and he watches the film, and he comes out and he said, "It's a film."
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you don't get his response to the film, but basically you get the impression like this thing exists.
Yes.
And that was it. And to me, that is one of the best criticisms of that first movie, because, you know, while it did well at the box office, a lot of people walked out of that film and they're like, what the heck was that? That's not what I wanted. That's not what I expected. That's not what has been built up with the legacy, the lore that's been built up over these past few years, you know, or since the 80s, right? All the books since Timothy Zahn started writing in 1990. And you build up that lore for 9 years. And then you produce this movie and people were like, I don't get it.
I think it would be fair to say in 1999 that it was one of the films of the year.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was definitely one of the films of the year. And I walked out of that movie with 3-star draw, and we both looked at each other and was kind of like, okay, I really want to like it, you know, but I don't know what to think. And
I don't know what to think. I mean,
I didn't
Jake Lloyd and Jar Jar Binks kind of take it out of the film.
Yeah, Jar Jar did. And look, you know, none of us can say that, oh God, we really like that character, but it was not the fans revolting. The media definitely had a lot to do with Best and a lot of stuff.
I mean, the media attacked Ahmed Best like 100%.
And then they blamed the accent and was trying to say it was racist and all this kind of whole thing.
Well, and that was another interesting thing too, is that they had to change the Nemoidians and they had to change Jar Jar a little
recently,
bit. And
then as well, but even recently they completely changed the Nemoidians.
Yes.
In the Acolyte, you know, they completely changed their accent. It's goofy. I just want to go through a couple of these real quick. And Todd C says, I accept this blame. We were talking about the blaming of fans or men. Same time, Toy says, I wear the blame proudly. And let's see what else.
War Chest showed up.
I saw that. And Fanboys was good. This is the one. I'm with you 100%, War Chest. I agree. Rhiann Johnson, Kathleen Kennedy can eat a bag of dicks, and Dave Phony Baloney can hold the bag. Yes, War Chest is here. And also, real quick, same time says, anybody seen the video about how Mark Hamill tried to warn us about the new Star Wars movies? Yes. I've seen that video several times back in the day. And he did over the course of a year. He kept saying, well, it's not really the character I would do. And I told Ryan, I really thought we should do this, but he said, no, we've got to do this. Yeah, he tried to warn us. Now, as much as I detest Mark Hamill as a personal person, because I can't stand Mark Hamill as a person. But he was right when it came to that. Let's see, it was pretty bad.
A guy that tries to force his son's girlfriend to murder their baby.
Yeah. Nah, he's just a bad dude. And I wish that wasn't the case. But Min Joseph says it was pretty bad. Lucas calling his fans man babies and need to grow up, as I recall. And then Alex says, when do you guys think Disney went wrong with Star Wars franchise? When they bought it, Alex. When they bought it is when they went wrong. Because it immediately canceled the Clone Wars. Canceled the Seth Green comedic cartoon that they had. That was going to be coming out, and then
they trashed 46 scripts that Lucas had already written for Star Wars.
They immediately decanonized the extended universe and everything that.
And Kathleen Kennedy forgot it even existed,
and then forgot it existed because she even went out of her way to say we don't have anything to pull from, right? To make these shows, which is like, well, yeah, you did. You had years and years and years of shit that was written, comics, video games, you name it, but you decanonized all of it and to write your own shit, and writing their own shit is exactly what it's.
And now they can steal that shit and not have to pay those people.
And not have to pay the people. Yep, you're right. I know we mention it every now and then, but it is definitely true. Yeah, if social media was around War Chest, I do believe Phantom Menace would have received a lot of backlash. I believe that
Oh yeah,
100%. And I
yeah,
think that's the ability to look back on things with rose-colored glasses,
yeah.
in a way. So real quick, I just want to get to this. And so here's the deal. This is going to disappear. I think this show's going to disappear. Daniel Rickman has come out and he's had a pretty couple good spot on things when it comes to rumors, when it comes to Disney. But this latest one basically is that right now this thing is basically on hold. It says, look, they've been trying to get a script together. Stephen Knight, in particular, they've been trying to do a script for well over a year, which he says this in quotes. A final draft still hasn't been submitted. He's about, Stephen Knight's about to shoot Peaky Blinders movie. They've had 4 drafts, none of which have gotten approved. Kathleen Kennedy keeps giving him notes on how to improve the story, which we all know how that's probably going to go.
Yeah.
And the earliest they're going to shoot is 2025, which you could expect probably 2027-ish, early or late 2026 release, depending on when they start shooting. Let alone
it's
the
going to be
budget.
a decade since the last Star Wars movie.
Well, right, and let alone the budget. And there's a story I want to touch on about the budget part of it really quickly here momentarily, and I don't want to spend too much time on it. But the reason I wanted to bring this up is because I'm going to read to you guys a few of these Star Wars projects that have gotten canceled, and as I do this, if there's any chat that comes in, you can highlight it or whatever. So I've got it on my phone here. Here's some of the canceled Star Wars projects that basically just kind of disappeared. Right, they didn't get officially canceled, but they disappeared. Star Wars, let's see, Rangers of the New Republic, canceled Star Wars project that was supposed to star Gina Carano, may or may not be recast. David Benioff and D.B. Weiss's prequel trilogy, the showrunners of Game of Thrones.
That canceled as soon as the last season of Game of Thrones aired.
Yes.
They're like, you know what? Maybe not, guys.
Right. The Obi-Wan trilogy, which got turned into a television show that was a big giant pile of steaming dog shit.
Hey, careful now. Punk likes that show.
Well, that show sucked.
And it
objectively
so
and subjectively.
It was so bad.
And I want to tell you, if you guys get a chance, go onto Star Wars Theory YouTube channel. He has a interview with the guy who wrote the scripts and was in talks to do the Obi-Wan trilogy movies.
Yep.
And his script ideas are amazing.
Yeah, but
unbelievably amazing. Yeah. And Disney decided to shut that down and make that television show. And when you hear his ideas and you see what he wanted to do with it, and you see what direction they went,
he had love for the property.
Oh my God,
had love for the characters.
Yes, just watch that interview. Star Wars Theory, look it up. It's the interview with the Obi-Wan trilogy writer. You'll see it. It's really, really good, and his ideas were amazing. Boba Fett movie canceled. Colin Trevorrow's Episode 8, Duel of the Fates, canceled. Star Wars project given to Episode 9 rather, and that's where Jar Jar came back in. Jar Jar Abrams came back in to take us on a wonderful journey with spaceships and horses riding on the side of spaceships, and it was freaking awesome. And mystery projects from Damon Lindelof and J.D. Dillard, Kevin Feige's Star Wars project. Those are just to name a few.
Yeah, I mean, and we haven't even touched the Marvel ones that they've watched, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they have put out there so much stuff that they were going to do that they have not fulfilled. So they are never going to release a timeline. They're never going to release a schedule ever again because they're getting hammered on this on every turn.
Yeah, and Mendoza, that's right. There will not be a 4th season because they are making the Mando and Grogu movie. Now, if they do not have a better title for it, like we're trying to find for this show, then I'll be extremely disappointed, because if it's called the Mando and Grogu movie,
it's gonna
that sounds like shit.
And quite honestly, the Mando Grogu story was over and should never have been brought back.
And look, I agree with you.
We get it, Punk.
And Punk, I'm with
you.
We
love you.
You're absolutely right. You can like whatever you want. I would never tell you not to. But if you ever want to sit down and I can go over every single part of that show that is just an absolute abhorrent Well, I'll just stop there. But
No,
nonetheless,
and I understand why he likes it, and I understand why other people
yeah,
like it,
sure, sure,
because
I
it's
get
Ewan
it.
McGregor coming back as Obi-Wan, and they love Obi-Wan, and
That's
they love Ewan
that and
McGregor.
Anakin are my favorite parts. Him and Anakin are my two favorite parts about it.
Yeah.
100%. I can tell you
Oh
that.
yeah, and I love Ewan McGregor, and I love his portrayal of Obi-Wan because he loved Obi-Wan because
Oh,
he had a lifelong connection to Star Wars through his uncle. You know,
can
there's a whole
you
lot going on
imagine?
there.
Can you imagine after hearing that? You saw that interview with Star Wars Theory, right?
Yeah,
Did you see that?
yeah,
Okay. Can you imagine how disappointed Ewan McGregor
yep,
had to have been when he got the revised show
yep.
compared to those scripts? Those scripts sound those ideas and the idea for
There's
the
so much
trilogy
material to
are
work there
amazing. I'm
that
not
an
kidding.
actor could chew on and
Truly
develop,
amazing.
and it would have been brilliant. It would have been
Truly,
brilliant
truly amazing,
if you could
and
have done that.
you can see the excitement and hear the excitement in this guy's voice when he was talking about it. I mean, these were serious talks. They literally
Yep,
were in talks. They were going to make an Obi-Wan trilogy of movies, and Disney decided to change the amount of money they wanted to spend, and they decided to focus on Disney Plus.
yep.
What amazes me is then they spent $180 million on a show like The Acolyte. So
Two
I
hundred
don't
and
know.
thirty million dollars.
200,
Sorry.
yeah, that's true. 230, not 180, 230 adjusted. And so it makes you truly wonder if,
Yeah,
okay, well, we're going to cancel an Obi-Wan trilogy
yeah,
because we don't want to spend the money on it, but then you're going to give Leslie Headland, Harvey Weinstein's former personal assistant, $230 million to make a show like The Acolyte.
yeah.
I don't understand the reasoning. And that's where you have to start looking at your DEI stuff. And that's where you
Yep,
have to start looking at your social governance issues and stuff
yep.
like that that's come into pop culture. You have to. You cannot not look at that stuff.
Same time
Uh
toys. I totally agree with you, and that's, I love to argue. It doesn't mean I
yeah.
like
Oh
you
yeah,
any
of course.
less.
Of course.
If I'm going to argue with you, it actually means that I probably like you more because I feel comfortable enough to express myself, so we can actually have a conversation or
Yes.
argument. And,
Yes.
and it doesn't
Absolutely.
mean we're fighting. It doesn't mean I don't like you. It means that I probably disagree with you on some things, and I want you to know where I'm coming from, and I want to know where you're coming from it. And I understand. I do. I understand why people like that show. I just can't get behind it. And there's so many intellectual storytelling, characterization moments that get me. And that's where I get into this right here, where you like those parts, and those parts are amazing because those two actors together again, you
I
want to
know.
see it.
Yeah,
But
those
if
were,
you
yeah.
take it into context and what they say and what happens in those scenes, they are lore breaking and lore destroying philosophical concepts, and
Yeah.
it breaks me to know that that exists, and that it's in my head now and I can't flush it out.
And
And
maybe one day, we can do a deep dive, but it's obviously it came out a while back.
yeah,
Big George with the big wave might be saying, "Hey, I'm outy bowdy."
hey, thanks for stopping
And
by,
if
thanks for
our
hanging with
man
us.
George, I appreciate you listening, dude. You're always welcome back. You and your brother, Alex, man, y'all, anytime, man. I love you guys. And if not, and you're still hanging, then bring the heat, baby. Yeah, thank you,
Thanks,
brother.
man,
Appreciate it.
appreciate
Love you,
it.
man. And I know I'll see you soon. But yeah, it's always nice. It's always nice to see somebody that I know stop in, that I know, in person, personally, or whatever. I've told a lot of people about the channel, obviously, and try to get people to listen. But this kind of stuff is not everybody's bag, and I
Yep.
understand that. So, but it is fun to have people stop by and or my son drop in every now and then, whatever and stuff. So I do really appreciate it though. It really is appreciated. And real quick, I wanted to mention this because mentioning that budget thing with Disney, they've lost $1 billion a quarter, in this past year, and prior they were losing a lot of money. Now they're basically saying that they're now making money. I only think that's because of
Wait, they're
Deadpool
making money
Wolverine.
off of what?
Well, Deadpool Wolverine, but also I believe off of the animated 2 movie. The what was it? The
Inside Out 2, the most
Inside Out 2.
successful movie of the year.
Okay, so yes, they are making money off of that, but as a company as a whole, they're still
Yeah.
eliminating jobs. And so just
Yeah.
this week,
The
three,
money they've
three
made does not counteract the money that they've
No,
lost.
I agree with you, and that's why I want to bring this story up, because moving forward, them and their budget, it's going to affect the shows they're making, and moving forward in the movies, that's why they're producing less. They're making less movies. They're making less Disney Plus shows. 300 corporate jobs gone. By Bob Iger. It says affected departments include human resources, legal, finance, and communications. I'm going to tell you the important part about this story, the human resources part of it. They are in the middle, folks, from what I've been able to gather from the people that I watch and that I trust, and the people that they trust and that they talk to who are in the business. These are people that are in California. These are people that talk to people. They are in the middle of really gutting a lot of these activist hires they've made in the last few years that have changed Disney's content. Now, I'm not saying that it's not going to continue moving forward. There's still things in the pipeline. There's still shows being made. There's still movies being produced. But I do believe that they, like a lot of companies, have tried this. They've tried going down this road with some of their products. They found it doesn't make money. They found most people don't care for it, and they're starting to make changes. And it looks like Disney is making changes, and they are trying to eliminate the activist writers and employees that have infiltrated the company, but through their own hiring now.
Do we need
And
that ad stuff on there? Can we get rid of that?
I can't, it's bullshit. You can't.
Okay.
I can't. It's this is one of those shitty websites, and
Yeah.
it's called All of Them. Anyway, it says Deadline says the Parks Division, ESPN, Disney Entertainment were not hit with cuts in this round, but it says that it says the Burbank, California-based company was last hit with layoffs on July 31st. At the time, 140 people let go in the entertainment television unit, which was 2% of their workforce. It says Pixar reduced its staff by 14%. That's 200 jobs. And Pixar will no longer focus on making Disney Plus content. They are going to focus on movies only, which is what they should be doing. It says their first big wave, last year, 7,000 jobs. So what they're doing, they're slashing these jobs. What they're able to do, folks, is they're able to get rid of some of these bad actors within the company that they themselves have hired, but they're able to get rid of some of these people who have really changed the company and for the worse. And if Disney wants to get back to their family name, family content, and get away from this political shit, they're going to have to make some wholesale changes. And this is a way they could somewhat do that and mask it without getting blowback from the press over, well, you're firing your DEI person, you're firing your, progressive writer for this show and that show. This is a way they can do that without getting all the blowback. And so I just wanted to share that because it is important. Now, listen, do I want Disney to fail? Ultimately, no.
Right.
But I want them to understand that what the overwhelming majority of people want is what they've not been given. And it's just the truth.
Yep.
And all you have to do is look at the numbers. All you have to look at the sales.
Yep.
It is proven. Every company that has gone down this road, that has tried their hand at this DEI stuff and their representation and focusing on that over storytelling, over good writing, over good acting, good directing, has all failed. None of it has been successful.
It's not working out for them. They're wasting all this money, and they see it. And everybody who's paying attention, who sees it, has pulled back. Many of the companies have started firing their DEI departments.
Yes.
And they said, hey, this is not going to cut. It's not working. We're not seeing the benefit that you promised us. So some companies are starting to make those decisions. So we'll see if that continues.
Right.
I brought up something in the chat. I forgot where I saw it. Somebody sent me a link, and I don't know where that link is. I've only seen it once, but the Spice Diver cut of Dune is a 4.5, 5 hour cut of Dune that is phenomenal and
Ooh.
is well worth watching, especially if you like the David Lynch movie, because it takes all the deleted scenes and puts them back into context, re-edits it with some new special effects and stuff, but tells more closer to the book story of what happened with those actors. And the Spice Diver cut's really awesome. I can't find it off the top of my head off of what I have available to me right now, but
Says,
I can dig into it.
Mendoza says it's out on YouTube for free.
It's not.
I
It's never been
I
on
was gonna
YouTube.
say I don't know that it would be, but I mean, look, if Mendoza, if you can post or if you can find the
You
link,
send me the link or
send
something
it
like that.
send it on Instagram
Yeah.
to Matthew, and maybe he can post it because I don't think you can post links if we've
Because
got
the
it set up
actual
the way we got it set up.
5-hour cut I've only ever seen on a private
That'd be
website.
interesting. Yeah, man, I'd be interested in that for sure.
Yeah.
So listen, I know, you know, we're right at the 11 o'clock hour. There's one more thing that I kind of wanted to ask you guys out there in the chat, and jump in if you want to, if you can type. If you don't want to, that's fine. Who's going to see Joker 2? Who is going to see Folie à Deux? Are you planning on going to see this movie? It comes out on the 4th. There have been IMAX previews already that happened yesterday. Could have gone to see it yesterday, last night if I wanted to. I believe they were not showing today. It was just a one night event, early screenings. Are you guys going to see this movie? And then I'm going to tell you about a couple people's reviews that you need to watch on YouTube, people that I trust. And so I was just curious, are you guys and gals, if any, on replay? And by the way, hit the like button.
Like, share, subscribe.
There you go. Like, share, subscribe, baby. Got to put it in there. I always forget. I know 3-star's really bad about it too. I'm bad about it. You know, I never think about it. But yeah, if you can, like, share, subscribe, comment, replay wise, anybody on Replay Squad, definitely throw some replays in there. So I just want to go down real quick and just see. I see right now,
Vast majority of people are not going to see it. It looks like
I did want to see 3-star Josh says, ain't no way I'm sitting through 5 hours of Dune. The first one, right? And yeah, I get it. Frostbite says, I didn't really enjoy Joker 1, so not me. War Chest says planning on going Sunday. Alex says, I am going, hands up. You people on YouTube. Bobby Wold says, I don't have any interest for it. Same time says, nope. 3-star draw says I'll probably go see Joker 2, but down to me this weekend. George Hunt says I'm going to give it a chance, and possibly the kid wants to see it for same time. Okay, so good little poll. Anybody else just throw in there? That's good. Woody says I'm going to see it. My wife's taking me out of town. I'm going to see it. My wife is taking me out on the town Friday.
Yeah.
Well, hell,
awesome. Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna go see Wild Robot this weekend. I can't wait. I've heard so many good things about Wild Robot.
Now, real quick, before I get into this, before we wrap things up, 3-star, no, because Matthew is not watching the gayest Marvel show ever created, Agatha All Along. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, watch my video, Is Agatha All Along the gayest Marvel show ever? I put that video out last week. I am putting a video out for episode 3, and hopefully we'll be done with it tomorrow. It's not super long. Won't take you long to get through, but yeah, check that out. It's on my channel. Is Agatha All Along the gayest Marvel show ever? But anyway, no, we're not going to talk about it because Matthew really hasn't been watching it. So here's the deal. I want to share this with you guys. And I don't know if this is going to dissuade any of you that are thinking about going, but the early critic reviews are in, and they are not good. Now, I will be the first person to tell you that I usually do not trust the critic reviews.
No.
Nor am I a professional critic. So I would tell anyone to take what I say with a grain of salt and find out for yourself. If I do recommend a show like Penguin, and Matthew, you can tell it in my voice. If I am strongly telling you, you guys know what I stand for. You can tell by hearing me talk about it. You can tell what I'm into and what I'm not into. But I will also admit when I'm wrong. I'll also admit if something surprises me.
Yep.
I am not excited for this based off of all of the trailers. I did not want a Joker musical. I did not
Nope.
want Lady Gaga. I don't think because she's in a movie, automatically has to have singing parts in it, which
Yeah.
seems to be the new Elvis tradition now. She's the new Elvis. Every movie she's in has to have singing. It's part of the contract. I don't know, but I fully believe that not only did the director not commit to a full musical,
Mm-hmm.
but that he doesn't know how to make a musical.
Yep.
And because he doesn't know how to make a musical, and the musical that he based this off of was one of the worst
Flops
Yes.
ever.
So I don't trust. Look, the first movie I enjoyed, and then probably about the last 30 minutes, it got a little old for me. The Message, the TV show, Robert De Niro part, all of that stuff started to just get it started to drag and it started to get a little preachy for me.
Now, I'll say this about the first movie. You know, in film school, we watched Taxi Driver. I watched Kings of Comedy.
Yeah, sure.
I don't ever have to see those movies again. I watched The Joker. I don't ever have to see that movie again because I've already seen it twice, and then now I saw it for a third time because it's the same as those other things.
Right.
And if you read what the director wrote, he wanted to shoehorn a real movie into a superhero movie. And
yeah,
we'll go from there.
so real quick, I just want to read to you guys a few of these just quick blurbs from some of the top critics. And again, I don't always agree with the critics. There are things I like that the critics don't like. I think a lot of times the fans and the critics are far apart, especially on a lot of these Disney shows where the fans are like, this is garbage. And the critics are like, it's one of the most important shows ever made. It's the gayest show ever. So here's one review. We're left with the tragedy of a broken man in a world only interested in sensationalism. It's a big swing for all involved, but all the better for it. So that's a positive. All right. Now, here's another one. It begs the question, why is Todd Phillips, the director, so reluctant to embrace that the film is a musical? Why not add a little more color, some flourish to the production design? And she spells color with a U, so she is from Britain.
Or she's trying to be,
or she's trying to be
pompous.
Cool. Here's another one. Where the original Joker remains a stunning exception, the rare blockbuster with emotional shading, grown-up themes, and a genuine sense of grandeur, this sequel fails to stay on the beat. Here's another one. Jeremy Johns, who is on YouTube. And I will tell you, his review is very good. Jeremy Johns, go watch his review. It's got about 700,000 views in the last 16 hours. Feels not only all over the place, I feel like they backtracked on Arthur Fleck. And what I can tell you from his review is instead of advancing his character, it's like he goes backwards.
Yep.
And
that's what I always worry about.
And the star of this movie, do you guys want to take a big guess?
Oh, yeah,
on who the star of the movie is, who they really basically who this movie is for and who takes over the movie? Do you want to take one guess? Yeah, you already know. This is a vehicle. It is not for Joaquin Phoenix. I can tell you that.
I want to address this one real quick. 3-star. You say you like the Joker movie and all that stuff. I agree. I don't think it's a bad movie. I do like the movie, but emotionally, visually, contextually, I don't ever have to watch it again. It's not a movie I enjoy watching. It's a good movie and it tells a prescient story, but it's not one that I have to see on a regular basis for sure. It's not one of those to rewatch, and there are lots of movies like that. There's a movie called Pi and I love it, but I've seen it maybe 3 or 4 times and I really don't need to watch it again, but maybe once every 20 years.
So yes. And him saying, look, it's not far off from like Taxi Driver. That was exactly the point, right?
It was exactly Taxi Driver and Kings of Comedy mashed together.
Very much inspiration and mash those together. And and of course, for folks that out there that haven't seen those movies, number one, I recommend you see both of them. Number two, when you do, then you will go, oh yeah, that scene and that scene. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
be prepared to be emotionally challenged in those movies because there's a lot of stuff there.
And so here's the biggest part. I think that these two right here back to back, I'll read and then I'll be done with it. And then is that right here. Despite its initially intriguing, off-putting nature that has no interest in being what anybody would expect from a Joker sequel, it is crushingly boring and often feels like an aimless 2 hour plus coda to that film, the original. And then Folie à Deux is largely an exercise in tedium that is better than its shallow and frankly stupid exercise in corporate approved nihilism that was the 2019 original, but has nothing new to offer other than shallow provocations that are more boring than bold. Those are
Yeah.
most of your reviews coming in. A lot of people are not happy about the musical parts of it. They feel like the Arthur Fleck character gets pushed to the background.
Yeah.
And basically, folks, here's the deal. The first half of this movie is a prison romance with a stalker who falls in love with her her crush on a prison person or a
Mhm.
prisoner, whatever. And then the second half is courtroom drama.
Yeah.
And I've heard that one of the best
Better
scenes
than
in the
She-Hulk.
movie is from, yeah, better than She-Hulk for sure. But one of the best scenes is someone on the stand
Mhm.
in the courtroom drama, but that overall, it may very well be disappointment. So going in, just know that this is kind of what people are saying.
Now, and
Um,
I just want to add into there that Todd Phillips never wanted to make a comic book movie. He never wanted to make a sequel. When it blew up, he said
yes,
no. He continually said no to
right,
making a sequel. And then they backloaded a dump truck full of money, and he said, okay. And then I believe he said, I'm going to say a big F you to the entire company and all of the fan base. And he's actually gone out and attacked the fan base of these comic book movies in the press that I've seen him talk about. So he's
yes,
already downplaying this movie and attacking fans and
hmm,
saying this is a big fuck you to everyone. I took the money. I'm gonna bank. This money's gonna do me well, but fuck you.
yeah. It's the bottom line is, they asked him about doing a sequel. He said no. They took a dump truck and filled it full of money and
Yep.
backed it up to his house, and he still said no. So then they got a plane to dump out a cargo dump of money onto the
Yep.
top of the dump truck, and then he finally said, "Sure, I'll do it." And on top of that, he said, "And guess what? Not only do I not give a shit about making this movie, I'm gonna make it a semi-musical,
Yep.
and I'm gonna hire Lady Gaga." And boy, I'm gonna tell you, in one of those posters, her nose is the biggest thing on the poster.
Bigger than the Penguins? Bigger than the
Sweet
Penguins? Come on now.
Jesus, she's got a schnoz on that lady. All right. So anyway, so look, that's about all I got, man.
Yeah.
A few stories to keep you guys up to date. It's well, we like to do every week. Just kind of keep you up to date and give you some recommendations. I'll kind of look through the chat real quick as we're just kind of winding things down. Turn out the lights, the party's over. Alex, I don't
Yeah.
know, the new Toy Story. I need a little more info on it. I don't know enough about it yet. Toys versus technology. If you're talking about just toys like in hand toys like what we used to play with and kids today, that's a whole nother segment we might maybe get into next week, or something we could get into next week. If you tune in, maybe that's something we might bring up. We talk about it, we've talked about it before, and it is a common conversation, I think, amongst a lot of the people that are in this chat right now, for sure,
Yeah.
because all of us are mostly of an age of into our mid to late 40s or a little older than that. Whatever. So we grew up definitely in the late 70s and early mid 80s. And so, action figures were all the rage 100% compared to nowadays. And action figures now are mostly for people that are in their 40s and early 50s. It's just the way that the market has kind of gone. But yeah, let's see real quick. Yeah, and same time says Woody, let us know if the movie's worth it. I'm sure he will. I'm sure he will give you guys the 411. for sure. And so you guys keep your eyes peeled for that. War
And
Chest,
I'll just say go
don't
see
punch
Wild
your neighbor's
Robot
cat.
and Transformers One because they're good movies, and you should spend your money on good movies rather than garbage.
Yeah, I have to go see Transformers 1 definitely. And I will try to make it a point in the next few days to get on that. I've got to get on Tulsa King season 2 because I really
It's
enjoyed
good.
season 1, and
It's
I've got
good.
to get
It's good.
caught back up on it. So yeah, and then yes, real quick, Bobby Wold, I did hear about the GoFundMe that this guy set up for the Acolyte. He set the goal at $180 million, and right now it has $10 and one follower, and he is the $10 donation, and he's the guy that started it, and he's looking for $180 million. So if you guys want to see season 2 of the Acolyte, then by all means look it up and go donate your hard-earned cash and give it to Harvey Weinstein's former personal assistant so she can make season 2 of a garbage ass show.
Even if he raised the money, that money would not go to Lucasfilm to make this
No,
product.
no, it would not.
Everyone knows it.
No, it would not. And I'd be the first to tell you that I would not hand that money over. Drama. Did you say drama? I love drama. I know you do, Punk. You had a whole bunch of it last week, that's for sure. Anyway, so yeah, man, Bobby Wold, Joaquin, yeah, first time he's played a character twice. We keep hearing that. It was like the Alabama Georgian game with the 17-year-old kid that scored the game-winning touchdown for Alabama. They said he was 17 years old about 20 times on that broadcast. I've heard about Joaquin not being in a sequel and not wanting to play one, and this is the first time, and that's all I've heard practically the last several days. Every story it seems like, but I don't blame you for bringing it up by any means.
Warner Brothers, they made so much money off of that movie because that movie was cheap.
It was $50 million budget.
Yeah. And they made over $1 million. Yeah, so they made so much money off of that. Yeah. They took all that money and they paid it to Todd and Joaquin to make another one, and they're not going to make their money back on it. Sorry.
No, as a matter of fact, all that money they did make on it, this could get ugly. It actually could. I don't know how well this movie's going to do, and as word of mouth gets out, man, it could die fast.
Now I'll tell you that from my conversations with people, and I talk to a lot of people, you talk to a lot of people, different environments, but still we talk to a lot of people. I don't know anyone who's interested in seeing a sequel to that movie. Even if they liked the first one, there's a lot of people that just have no interest in seeing the next version of it. And I'm like, and for a while I was almost excited. I was like, hey, if they do something really different with it, if they do a full musical with this, it could be actually kind of interesting. But if they half-ass the musical, if they half-ass the storytelling, if they half-ass everything, then it's just going to be a pile of garbage. And that's what it sounds like happened.
So real quick, 3-star. As for a sequel, so far worldwide looks better than domestic at 140 million, with a new lower projected 55 to 60 million at 4,000 US theaters with all the IMAX and PLF screens. It said the original domestic forecast was 70 million plus, and now that's been adjusted down to 55 to 60. And then
for this movie,
drop off is usually 60%. If
at
it's
least
not a huge movie like Deadpool. So,
if the projections are going to make their money back, it would have to be over $100 million weekend. Its opening weekend has to be over $100 million. Otherwise, it's not going to make projections. And if we're downgrading it, I mean, maybe I'll be surprised. I don't believe it's going to hit above 50 million. I don't know that it's going to hit above 30 million in the opening weekend. I'm hesitant to say above 30, but I don't believe it's going to hit above 50.
Yeah, you could be right. I think when word of mouth gets out, and I think a lot of people are just, once they hear about how boring the musical numbers are, and the fact that they don't even add to the storytelling, they're just musical numbers that don't really give you any exposition.
Well, that sucks. Then that's not the point of a musical, right?
Right. Exactly. They're just there because they're there, which makes me wonder if it's like some producer or somebody was like, Lady Gaga's in this movie. We got to have her sing. That's
Yeah.
what people know she can do.
Yeah.
And it's like what happened to Elvis, going to Hollywood. He ended up having to sing in every freaking movie. I don't know if there is. I'm sure there is. That's become the new thing. I
I mean,
still want to
everybody's
get one
got their
of
Wolverine mask, right?
I
And their
still want to get
alien
the
head,
Dune
right?
popcorn
And the
bucket, though.
Dune
Yeah,
explicit popcorn
baby. That's
bucket.
a X-rated popcorn bucket right
I mean,
there,
if you
baby.
get a big Lady Gaga one, I mean,
Oh,
I don't know. People be into that.
yeah, big blow up Lady Gaga. Mm. Mm-mm.
Buttery
Monsters,
popcorn.
monsters ball, baby. Um, look, she was born that way. Okay. Anyway, oh no, what? She was born that way. So look, let's see. Wait a minute. Um, yeah, that's all I got, folks. Matthew, anything? Obviously, you want to let everybody know, or anybody watching on a replay who's going to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and share this video where they can find you on Instagram.
Memu's action figure blog and Memu's action figure blog 2. I've got posts every single day. And for the month of October, everything is going to have monster or horror themes in it. So even all my collab posts with G.I. Joe or Marvel or Star Wars or anything else that I do collab posts with will have something in the background. And it already started. Today's post, maybe not, depends on how you take it, but Sunday and Monday's post. Sunday's post was Headless Horseman was chasing down the Stinger with Firefly and Scrap Iron in
Nice.
it. And then I did some Frost Giant battle for Conan on Monday. Today was Harai doing To Be or Not to Be with
Yes.
the helmet
Yes.
of her father. And then I've got more stuff coming with vampires and werewolves and
Sweet.
all the Universal guys and beyond. So I'm going to try and sneak that into every single photo that I post for the month of October. So
Awesome,
enjoy.
baby. I love it. They're great photos. You guys check them out. Mamu's Action Figure blog on Instagram. I will be doing Sevens Wild tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. Central, with Three Star Draw, aka Down South 77, and on his channel, on Three Star Draw's channel. So we will be doing that tomorrow night, and kind of Halloween themed all month. We'll get in 3 Sevens Wilds this month of October, actually, and we'll have one the day before Halloween.
And I did want to throw that up there too. Sorry.
Yeah.
The October 26th, 27th is the Punk on or Punk's
Yes.
stream, his
Yes.
charity stream for
Yes.
Toys for Tots. We're gonna do a 36-hour stream. He's gonna have some people on before me, and then we're gonna come on and talk about Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Sweet.
And then he's gonna go for 30 more hours after that. On and off with some other people. So please support us in that and say hello, support the Toys for Tots, support Sarge and Reds, and check that out. So
yeah, we'll remind everybody leading up to it. I know, and obviously me and Three Star will do that as well on our streams, and so yeah, man. So y'all come by Three Star Draws channel tomorrow night. We'll be doing our GI Joe thing with some other stuff, but we're gonna go over our scariest GI Joe outfits / uniforms, and you can kind of guess what that means. Whew, boy, there's some funky stuff out there, especially in them 90s, baby. But anyway, so that'll be tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central. So yeah, man, you guys have a good night. Really appreciate everybody stopping by. Always love it. Much more fun when you guys are in the chat. Really, really, really. And we will catch you guys next Tuesday. We'll be back with some new topics. Thanks, y'all. Have a good night.